All right, Shalom Israel.
Shalom, shalom.
All right, Shalom. Welcome to another class. The title of the class is My Nation is in Danger. All right. But before we get started, I want to give a shout out to all the brothers at isbhpk around the United States in Norfolk, Virginia, in Rochester, New York, Houston, Texas, New Mexico, California, Guatemala, London, all over, scattered all over. And also for the other brothers that teach this truth. Doesn't necessarily have to come from isbhpk, but shout out and salute to anybody that's holding forth the commandments and pushing the return of our nation, our people, the so-called Negroes, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Dominicans, Haitians, Jamaicans, West Indians, Argentinians, Brazilians, and so-called Mexicans and North Central and South Americans of Indian and Negro descent. Anybody that's teaching our people to come back to the Heavenly Father and come back to His commandments, we want to salute you and say shalom, and give another shout out to the sisters that's holding down their prospective obligations in the camp behind their husbands or behind the brothers, behind the elders. We want to say shalom to you as well. And anybody that's sick amongst our people, we want to ask the Most High in the name of Yahweh Shah to send up prayers for all those that's sick amongst Israel as well, because we're in a position where we have to depend on. We may not have the best medical care or so on and so forth. Plus, this medical industry is not 100% sound, but we want to give a shout out because prayer is most definitely important process of their healing.
Yeah.
So we want to say shalom to them that are sick, may be down and out, or may have been frustrated through these last days. Inflation, rising food costs, rising gas costs. So far, what I've seen, what I heard so far, and y'all may correct me if I'm wrong, is that so far we've seen some people send us pictures of eggs being $17 a dozen. So get your chickens. No, I'm just kidding. But if you got some, keep them, use them. Eggs being $17 a dozen. Watermelons being expensive. And now I'm gonna say this also. Now Shalom family. Now also, just read a report that in Iowa, either Iowa or Idaho, that a lot of people are giving up their pets because they're getting too expensive. First of all, we know how Esau loved their pets. Now anytime Esau give up their pets,
it's real.
It's a problem.
It's really real.
It's a problem.
That's a sign.
It's a problem because Esau had more mercy on a homeless man with a dog and approach the dog and ignore the man. You know what I'm saying? And make sure the dog has water and ignore the man on the corner. Because that's how much they care about the animals. We saw what happened to Mike Vick.
Yep.
And his whole career being demolished over some pit bulls that he wasn't even there fighting. He wasn't even there. You know what I'm saying? Simply because his name was on the deed. His whole career, number one selling jerseys, so on and so forth, was demoralized and smashed. And simply for being accused of being by animal activists. So when people are giving up their animals, certain people in particular, when Esau give up his animals, it's a problem.
And that's people's solace and comfort a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's like their best friend.
Yeah, you even seen in Ukraine, people picking up their animals, running for help. Running from Russian bombs. They had their animals with them as part of their luggage. But when the recession is we're in the early stage of this point, and you're already seeing people abandoning their pets, it's being too expensive. So that's only a sign of things to come, and then, so what we're going to do today is kind of go show biblically the history. Anytime a nation got to this point, what happens to us? When a nation gets to where their lifestyle, their comforts are being threatened, their posterity is being on the verge of collapse, how do they treat the ones who have been taken captive? Because this is not our first captivity as a so-called nation. I'm talking about the so-called Negroes, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans. It's not our first captivity. We are those same children that came out of Egypt. We're those same children that were under the hand of the Persian Media Empire, under the Babylonian Empire, under the Greco-Roman Empire. This is not our first captivity. So anytime we as being the captives, get in a position where our captors, and their posterity is being threatened.
Going through hard times.
They go through hard times. What befalls us? What happens to us? How are we dealt with? So we're going to kind of take a biblical point of view on the narratives that are pushed on us when their kingdom starts to collapse or show signs of weakening. You know, what we have to care about is our people. So the first scripture we're going to go to is Revelation chapter 12, verse 12, to kind of dive into this point. All right. Let's go ahead and read that.
Revelation 12, verse 12.
Come.
Therefore rejoice.
It says, therefore rejoice. Go ahead.
Ye heavens.
Go ahead.
And ye that dwell in them.
Go ahead.
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth.
It said rejoice because we know that the prophecy is being fulfilled. But it says woe to who?
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth.
Why? Go ahead.
And of the sea.
Go ahead.
For the devil is come down unto you.
It says for the devil is what?
Come down unto you.
Go ahead.
Having great wrath.
Having great wrath. Why? Why is the devil going to come down upon us even more fervently than he already has? Read on.
Because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
So what happens when the devil knows his time is short? Anybody?
He's going to try his best to manipulate lots of the minds of the people to not only worship him but also be deceived so that we don't get this truth in time. So he's trying. It's like a ticking time bomb, and he's trying to gather as many people, a multitude of people, to be deceived, so that way we're not pursuing after salvation through Yahweh Shah.
God. And this is a tactic that any devil does, whether it's on a nationalistic level or on an individual level. A negative spirit or entity never wants to be ousted.
True.
It never wants to be removed. And to prove that, go to Mark chapter 9 and somebody read verse 26. Read verse 25 first. And let me change this right here on this computer. Mark chapter 9 verse 25 and 26. Read that.
Mark chapter 9 verse 25. When Yahushua saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the foul spirit.
He rebuked what?
The foul spirit.
Go ahead.
Saying unto them, Thou dumb and deaf spirit.
He said, Thou dumb and deaf spirit. Read on.
I charge thee.
Yeah, I say I charge thee. Go ahead. I command thee. Read.
Come out of him.
Go ahead.
And enter no more into him.
Go ahead.
And the spirit cried.
And the spirit does what?
Cried.
The spirit. Do a negative spirit ever want to leave? No. Anytime a negative spirit is on a person or a nation of people, it's not going to be easy to root out that negativity. That's why we read in Revelation that devil comes down with great wrath, because he knows his time is short. He knows that he's about to be ousted. So whether nationally or individually, read on.
And rent him sore.
And did what to that man?
And rent him sore.
Go ahead.
And came out of him. And he was as one dead.
And he was as one what?
Dead.
Why? Because that spirit doesn't want to leave. No negative spirit ever wants to leave a man, an individual, or a nation. So that spirit is going to try its best to claw its way back and retain itself and remain inside a person, an individual, or as a nation. No negative spirit wants to leave easily. And that's why it says great wrath is going to come down upon the inhabitants of the land, because the devil knows his time is short. So what does that mean for us as a nation of people? Knowing this, what does that mean for us? That means that any time that rulers or people or a nation, when their economy is threatened, when their leadership is threatened, when their orders are being threatened or their laws are being threatened, they come down heavier on the people. And they clamp down heavier on the people, specifically the believers. And we're going to kind of take another glimpse of this. Go to Matthew chapter 2. Somebody read Matthew chapter 2, verse 1.
Matthew 2 and 1. Now when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king.
All right, read a little bit louder.
Now when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him.
Go ahead.
When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Yahushua should be born. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea. For thus it is written by the prophet.
Break this down for me. Find
Read.
something real quick.
And thou, Bethlehem,
Just 1 through 6.
in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah. For out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people
So
Israel.
out of Judah, which is the head tribe of the nation Israel, shall come a governor. Governor meaning what? A ruler. Someone who rules and presides and gives judgment and gives direction for the nation. Read.
Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently.
So he privately did what? Got the wise men, got the men that supposedly knew something or were supposed to know something, the doctors of the law. Right? Read.
Inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared.
It's like, listen, what time did this precise star, quote unquote, right? If you know the actual stars don't sit here around and move. What time did this star appear? Read.
And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search diligently for the young child. And when
Go search diligently for the what?
young child.
Young child. Read on.
And when ye have found him, bring me word again that I may come and worship him also.
So you see what? False pretense. The false narrative. Yes, help me find this child, this future governor of the nation of Israel. I want to worship him. This is coming from the governor of Israel right now, the current governor, the current ruler of the nation of Israel, which was Herod at the time. He's falsely pushing out or projecting, hey, I want to worship this child. Can you show me where the star is? Can you show me how to find this future governor? Read.
And when they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star, which they saw in the east, went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was.
So this star was a guiding post. It was a guiding element to show our people, or show these wise men, where the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, or the governor that came out of Judah, presided. Read.
When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy.
So the wise men were happy. Read on.
And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts.
So what verse you on right now?
Verse 11, sir.
All right, just read verse 6 one more time.
Okay. Verse 6. And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah.
Read on.
For out of thee shall come a governor.
It says, for out of thee shall come a what?
A governor.
So here these magi, these wise men, traveling, looking for the star, looking for the king that was to be born. But Herod, being the tetrarch, which given temporary power by the Caesars of Rome to rule Judea, is looking at this and saying, man, this guy is threatening my posterity. Now the Herodians were a family of Idumeans. These were Edomites. These weren't Jews. These were Edomites put in place to watch over and govern Israel. But as soon as these Edomites had felt a threat, who's this king that's supposed to be born? Who's this king that was said to prophesied to be born? And they say, oh, it's him who said it was. He said he was troubled. It says, saying, where is he that is born king of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, verse 3, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, and thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. That was a threat. That was an instant threat to the rulership of the Idumeans. Instant threat to the rulership of Idumean posterity, Edomite posterity, Edomite rulership. We can't have that. So jump down to verse 16.
Verse 16. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem.
So what did this man do when he didn't get a chance to execute his plan like he wanted to?
Lashed out.
Kill who?
All the children.
Kill all the children.
All the male children.
Who suffered because of this man's feeling that his kingdom was being threatened?
Our children.
Our children. So anytime Idumeans, Edomites, or any other nation that has control over our people, and they feel like their nation is in danger, just like when you read about the early 1800s, between like 1830, 1850, you had a growing number of slaves that outnumbered the slave master here in America. So what was the solution? We got to eradicate them. This is where laws were put in place that you could be killed for the smallest thing. You could be put in prison or chain gangs, or put or just killed for looking at a white woman, looking at a white man in the eye. Any little small thing you could be put to death, because it was out of fear that, wait a minute, there's more of them than it is of us. So that's a problem. We're being outnumbered. That fear is real.
That's a motivator.
It's a motivator. That fear is real. And it pushes Idumeans to the point of saying, okay, we got to do something about this. We got to offset these numbers. Oh, there's going to be a king coming out of Judah, or to rule the children of Israel? Oh man, we got to get rid of this. We're going to eliminate all the children that from this age and down, to make sure that we capture this future governor within that pool. Read that verse 16 again.
From the top. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. 17.
Read on down.
Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremy the prophet, saying, and Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping.
There was a lot of crying and weeping, because from the age, every male child from the age 2 years old and under was put to death out of fear. Out of fear that their posterity was in danger. Their rulership was in danger. Their kingdom is in danger. Read on.
In great mourning.
And great mourning. Read on.
Rachel weeping for her children, and would not be comforted.
And would not be comforted. Go ahead.
Because they are not. But when Herod was...
That's it. So because they were put to death. So anytime, this is just an example of Idumeans, Edomites that had rulership over Judea, especially over the religious sector of our people, of what they're willing to do to make sure that they stay in power. The extent that they're willing to go to make sure that they remain in control. Another example of this, go to Exodus chapter 5, verse 1.
You ready?
Yep.
Exodus chapter 5 verse 1 reads, and afterward Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, thus said the Lord Yahweh of Israel, let my people go.
He said what?
Let my people go.
Go ahead.
That they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness. And Pharaoh said, who is the Lord?
He said what?
Who is the Lord?
We don't know that guy. We don't know who the Lord is. We know who Isis is. We know who Ra is. We know who Anubis is. But we don't know who that is. We don't know who is the Lord. We don't know that guy. We don't recognize your God. We know our gods. We know our pantheon of deities. We have our religious deities that we worship. We don't know that God. Read on.
Who is the Lord, that I shall obey his voice to let Israel go?
Go ahead.
I know not the Lord.
He said, I know not the Lord. Read on.
Neither will I let Israel go.
Do you think these people are going to let us go? Do you think that it's in the best interest of America to let the children of Israel go to serve the Most High?
Nope.
No. It's not. And neither will they recognize that we're the Most High's children. And they're not going to recognize the Most High. Read on.
Verse 3, and they said, the Most High of the Hebrews have met with us. Let us go, we pray thee, 3 days' journey into the desert.
He said, we're just asking for a 3-day leave in the desert. Read on.
Into the desert and sacrifice unto the Lord our power.
Man, you can't even ask the devil for a Friday off, for a Sabbath off work, without him having a problem. Did you put in? Do you have PTO? You didn't ask for that in advance. I can't give that to you. Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. The devil don't want to recognize that. Now you go to church on Sunday. Sunday's the Lord's day, not Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. You can't even get that day off.
He'll recognize that, yeah.
Let alone to serve the Most High and disconnect from this society. No, it's not. It's not going to be that easy. Especially when their society is in danger. Read on.
Come. Lest he fall upon us with pestilence, or with the sword.
Go ahead.
And the king of Egypt said unto them, wherefore do ye, Moses and Aaron, let the people from their works?
He said, why are you letting people off work? Because that to this society, our servitude and allegiance to the Most High just sounds like a vacation to the nations.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're not trying to keep up your end of the bargain to support the nation. You know what they see that's threatened? What is being threatened by our servitude to the Most High?
Their economy.
Their economy. Their economy. I don't know if y'all remember when some of the dumbest things were said when we went through the housing market crash of 2008 and we was in a recession, that they put in the amongst the media, and you had senators talking about and economic specialists saying that we have to buy our way out of a recession. That means you got to spend more money so we can get out of recession. That was the answer. That was their solution to a recession. You got to buy more cars. You got to buy more goods and services in order for us to come out. Buy more useless items that you'll hardly ever use in order for us to come out of it. That was their answer for a recession. Because you know what our servitude to the Most High does?
Yeah.
It threatens their economy. Because now you know how this nation judges their economic stability? How well Christmas does. They look at all the holiday sales.
True.
And they look at sales from online, from Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and by those 2 days they determine how well and how stable the economy is based on how people are spending. So what happens when you don't follow Christmas no more? What happens to the economy then?
It goes down.
What happens when you're not shopping the day after Thanksgiving for Black Friday?
It goes down.
So what do you think is being affected by our disconnection from their national holidays? Their economy is being threatened. It doesn't behoove them that we serve the Most High because it doesn't make economical sense. And it threatens their posterity. And now our dollars, which are heavy when it comes to buying power. We make up a large buying power in America. Now our dollars are not supporting this economy. Then what happens?
Recession.
Now we're going to recession. Now the economy is destabilized. So it doesn't make economical sense for us to serve the Most High because we don't support those holidays.
They want us to be in perpetual position of being consumers, and then be in the perpetual position of being owners.
Owners and sellers.
Yeah.
And so therefore we're kept in a state of slavery, in debt. Yeah, we're in a position of we stay in debt, trying to keep up with the holidays.
Then the Joneses.
Yep.
Then the styles. Then the trend, the garbage trends that come out.
You gotta create trends and the latest items that come out in order for
The internet shows that.
to be stimulated on what to buy in this society.
A system has been created off commercial goods being sold. No goods sold, no business.
Yep.
It's not off industrial revolution. It's not off industry. And like China makes money. They export the majority of their products. They do more exporting than they do importing.
Yep.
We do more importing than exporting. And who's the major consumers? It's us.
Yeah, so that's why they use algorithms.
Right.
They basically study you to see what it is you want, so they know how to market you.
That's why they ask you, do you mind if we attach these cookies on
Everything you do.
On everything you do. Just so you check out this website, do you accept that, you know, we may study some of your patterns and what you're watching. What are you following?
Exactly.
So they understand it makes no economical sense to let us go. To let us serve the Most High. It doesn't do them well. If they were smart, they'll get in the fringe game.
Don't tell the Asians that. That's crazy. You are the chosen people.
Yeah.
Don't you know you're the chosen?
Yeah. I have friends all color.
We knew you was the Jew the whole time.
I have gold. I have black. I have red. I have all color.
What camp you with?
I got IUIC.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They got
GOCC.
We got discount. Brother, I'm telling you.
Yeah, every camp shirt you want. What camp you want to be with? You no camp.
You no camp. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. But they understand. You know what the Egyptians understand? Why should I let you go? Why should I let you go to serve the Most High? That makes us no money.
Egypt. What
makes no financial sense.
What was Egypt after Israel left Egypt?
Man,
economy.
What were they after that?
A tourist attraction. That's what they were after that.
Yeah.
After we left.
Became a damn museum, huh?
That's what they became. A tourist attraction after we left.
Remember when the Jews were here?
Yeah. Read on.
Let the people from their works get you unto your burdens.
They say get you unto your what?
Burden.
Get back to work, man. That's what it's about. That's why the devil's not going to let us go serve the Most High with ease. Because it's about us keeping this thing going. We're keeping the economy floating. Our commitment to this nation and as consumers is keeping it thriving.
Yep.
But even that's not saving it. They're coming up with some extreme tactics, raising gas prices, removing trade, what do you call them?
Trade embargoes?
Trade embargoes from China.
Bull crap sanctions.
Yes. Illegitimate, I don't only say illegitimate, just these sanctions aren't even working.
The number one currency in the world right now is the ruble.
The Russian ruble.
The Russian ruble.
And for the first time, they say it's 7-1 to the dollar.
It's up 35%.
It's 7-1 to the dollar. Is what I read not too long ago. That means that it takes $7 to get one Russian ruble. It's in danger. So what's going to happen? We're going to find out what happens when a nation of people, a nation that rules, feels threatened, and what happens to us. What role do we play? And what role should we play? Read on.
Come. Get you unto your burdens. And
they love us when it's war, though.
Yeah.
They love our people when it's war. They want some Native American. They want some code talkers. You speak your native language so we can fool the Germans.
Yeah.
They want somebody in the front line going to the jungles, get the black guys out here and put them in the jungles.
And Issachar. Get them down in them tunnels.
Yeah. Put Issachar on the tunnels. Put Gad and Reuben on. Let them do code talking in World War II. World War II. And then we need those brothers out there on the front line just taking bullets, being sponges.
Yeah. But like you said, they'll use us for that. Read on.
Come. Get you unto your burdens.
But that's part of our burdens. Having to support and sustain this place. Economically, militarily, financially. Go ahead.
And Pharaoh said, behold, the people of the land now are many.
And what happens when they feel that there's an overpopulation of us? Read on.
The people of the land are many, and ye make them rest from their burden.
It says, and you giving them time off away from their dedicated duties. Read on.
And Pharaoh commanded the same day the taskmasters of the people and their officers, saying, ye shall no more give the people straw to make brick, as heretofore. Let them go and gather straw for themselves.
So now what they're saying is, you're going to have to find a way. You still got to produce. That means you still got bills to pay. Yeah. That means you still got rent to pay. You still got mortgage to maintain. You still got to pay water. You still got to pay electricity. Now they're talking about, in order to pull us out of recession, they just said that people have to come off their job the workforce has to be cut in order for us to come out of recession. Did y'all read that the other day? The workforce has to be cut down. That's their answers. The workforce has to be cut down by such and such percent in order to get us out of this recession that's coming. But you still got bills. But you still got responsibilities. You still got daycare. You still got car notes, gas.
You got taxes.
You got taxes. You know what they're saying? Regardless of how you feel, if we feel threatened, you still got to find a way to make it happen. You still got to find a way to function. You know what? These rising rents, people are going to have to reestablish their lifestyle. They're going to have to reevaluate their living. There's a lot of people right now that's going to have to reevaluate their spending. All the fancy restaurants that you used to, the shopping, you got to reevaluate your spending. You may have not lived on a budget before, but the times are coming where you're going to have to live on a budget now. And you're going to have to learn how to exchange services. Hey brother, let's carpool. You pick me up 2 days a week, 3 days a week, I pay you, you know what I'm saying, give you gas money. We got to find a way to, you watch my kids this day, I watch your kids that day. Oh, if you got water, I got bread. You got beans, I got tuna. We don't know. We don't know. Yeah, we might have to get to that point. It's coming. Because the worse it gets for their posterity as a kingdom, as a nation, the harder they're going to come down on us.
So they can live.
So that they can live. The answer is persecuting us to pull their economic stability or retain stability in their economy.
That's really been their only economic plan if you actually look at their history.
The rich stay rich, the poor stay poor.
Now the middle class is holding all the weight. That's who holds the weight of the whole economy. That's who holds the weight of all the economy. And we make up a large portion of the middle class.
The new middle class.
Yeah. But what's their answer? Their answer is always the same. Make it harder for them. Read on.
Come. There is no straw given unto thy servants. And they say to us, make brick.
Come.
And behold, thy servants are beaten.
And they do what?
Thy servants are beaten.
It says, so what are they going to do? This is history showing you what's to come.
So the things written aforetime
was written for our learning.
So we should be reading the Bible. The brothers don't be studying. This is why we should be studying.
God, you don't study. You got to know what's coming. You know what? You know what's coming? A harder way of living for us. Anytime the nation is in danger, it's always harder on us. It says make straw with no. Make brick with no straw and beat them. Go ahead.
God. And behold, thy servants are beaten, but the fault is in thine own people.
He said the what?
The fault is in thine own people.
So it's always, you're in the ghettos, your fault.
Your fault.
You have the #1 STD rates, your fault.
Your fault.
Even though your doctors have been proven to do experimentation using syphilis, experimentation using HIV in the communities, all in Puerto Rico, in different parts of our nation, your fault.
You can't keep up with your taxes?
Your fault.
Yeah. You can't pay your bills? Your fault.
You don't have a nuclear family, even though we said, hey, you can't have a man in the house and we'll give you assistance. You don't have a nuclear family, you have 2 incomes. Your fault.
Yep.
Which is, they're not going to change that.
Then no nation that's ever had us in captivity, except Persian Media Empire under Cyrus, did he let us go and let us serve the Most High and support us in our endeavors to build our nation up. Besides that, every other nation we've been in makes it harder for us when their posterity is threatened. He said that your survival is your fault. That's your responsibility.
Yep.
Even though we're making it harder for you to function, you're still going to have to figure it out. You got to figure it out. And the closer it gets to their time being taken up and being removed as a nation in power, the harder it's going to get on us.
They can feel it.
They know it's coming.
They can feel it.
They know it's got. They've been prepping for months, for years. You think people have been talking about preparing canned goods and bottled water and toilet paper? There's hardly, when you go, even the paper companies are saying that they're about to run out soon. Wait till the last harvest of grain that came out of Ukraine is under Russian control. It's about to get rough. It's about to get rough. It's about to get difficult. And they're going to say, guess what? Fend for yourself. You got to survive. So we got to be at least alert and wise enough to be able to dig back in history and look at when these people's kingdom is threatened, what do they normally do? What are their habits? They put the blame on who?
On us.
On us. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's why they come back and say, grab your boots by the straps.
Right.
Like we're not working hard enough. But they're sitting there making everything that much harder that you got to work harder, but you're not getting anywhere.
But you're not getting anywhere.
And that's how they're setting it up.
My dad, we worked hard to get what we had.
Yeah. What verse you on, my word?
I get what you're saying.
The end of 16.
Read on.
But the fault is in thy own people. But he said, ye are idle.
You're what?
Ye are idle.
Yeah, y'all don't want to go to work. Y'all don't want to go to work.
You're lazy.
Y'all lazy. You're lazy people. You know, it's all your fault. You know, get off the welfare and the food stamps. That's their history. See, but it's not until the Most High punishes them do they recognize that. Now, this is what I want to go straight to this point, because we use in Egypt because we were in captivity of Egypt to learn the mind of our slave masters and what condition they're gonna put us under. Now, the Most High does have an answer for that. Now, when you go to get the Josephus, somebody grab the Josephus and go to page 68 of the Josephus, and then somebody else get. I want you to get Wisdom of Solomon. I want you to get chapter 18, start at verse 1.
Right now.
Yeah, give me Mawala, read Mawala, give me you was in Exodus, right, Mawala?
Yes, sir.
Give me Exodus chapter 10 real quick and read verse 22, because I want to kind of get to a point.
Exodus chapter 10.
Yes, sir. Read verse 22.
10 and 22.
And then you got the Apocrypha, right? Then I want you to read Wisdom of Solomon chapter 18, start at verse 1.
Right now.
Yeah, after my word.
22, right? 10
Yes, sir.
22.
Yes, sir.
Come. Exodus chapter 10, verse 22 reads,
Read that.
And Moses stretched forth his hand.
So now the Most High was working with Moses to reprove the Egyptians and allowing us to serve the Most High. So the Most High had to bring about a multitude of calamities to this place, to Egypt in particular, so as to motivate them to let us go. And so one of the plagues that Moses brought forth was darkness. Read on.
And Moses stretched forth his hand towards heaven.
Go ahead.
And there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days.
3 days. Go ahead.
They saw not one another.
He said they couldn't see each other, right? Read on.
Neither rose any from his place for 3 days. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings.
He said, but all the children of Israel had what?
Light in their dwellings.
So now, what's got to happen, what we got to see is that the Most High, using Egypt as an example, although that the Most High was punishing Egypt, just like he's punishing America, and he's judging America, the believers of the Most High were particularly doing well. The believers were doing well. The Most High sustained the believers, the children of Israel. So Read Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18, start at verse 1, Yeshai.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18, verse 1. Nevertheless, thy saints had a very great light.
It says, while the rest of Egypt was in darkness, he said, thy saints had a what?
A very great light.
He said, the saints had a very great light. Read on.
Whose voice they hearing, and not seeing their shape.
It says the Egyptians, when the Most High punished them with 3 days of darkness, they heard the Israelites talking. And they heard us doing well. He says, but they couldn't see us, but they heard us talking. Read on.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Because they also had not suffered the same thing.
It says because we didn't suffer the way they were suffering, because it was part of the plague that the Most High had coming against Egypt. So the plague didn't necessarily affect us. It didn't affect us like it was affecting them. They knew they were suffering. Now, they knew what they were going through. Like I said earlier, you're already watching people starting to give up their pets. It's about to get worse. And we know how much they love their dogs.
I start eating their dogs, huh? You never know.
Yeah, and dog food. Read on.
It's crazy.
They counted them happy.
It says they knew that we were happy. Read on.
But for who they did not hurt them now.
It says, and we're glad that you didn't take advantage of us when we were vulnerable in this darkness. Read on.
Of whom they had been wronged before.
He said, even though we know you did us wrong, we did you wrong. See, these captives or captors, these so-called slave masters, they know what they're doing. But it takes the right situation for them to come to the acknowledgement of their sins. Just like Egypt was saying earlier, your poverty is your fault. That's what they told them in Exodus chapter 5, right? They said your poverty is your fault. But he said here it was until after the affliction that the Most High brought upon them. Then all of a sudden we're happy that you didn't take advantage of us. Thank you for not taking advantage of us when we were vulnerable. Read on.
They always thank our people for the. We want to thank you for your noble acts.
Yeah, your
and
service.
We want to give a symbolic gesture for all the good that you've done. We will symbolically accept your goodness, and we'll give you a month. We'll give you a Black History, the shortest month.
Juneteenth is now an official holiday.
It's no, you officially have.
Juneteenth is a federal holiday now.
They give you days that have no meaning, symbolic, poetic gestures that mean nothing for your people.
Yeah, you know Juneteenth they celebrate. You know what I heard? I heard let's celebrate Juneteenth by commemorating the Emancipation Proclamation, by thanking the forefathers for setting the slaves free. Can you believe the twist? That's what they say. That's what was said on the 19th. Yeah. Thank the forefathers for the emancipation, for setting the slaves free. Who's getting the credit? They're giving themselves the credit.
Thank the slave master.
Thank the slave master for it's not even about the news being heard 2 years after the decree was already brought forth. Yeah, Juneteenth is now twisted and thanking the forefathers for the Emancipation Proclamation for setting the slaves free. Not about let's celebrate your freedom and the fact that you've been enslaved for free for the past 350 years. But thank the slave masters for allowing you to be free.
So we're supposed to go together, get together, and get groups. We want to thank all the previous presidents over our people, as the forefathers. Thank you for freeing. We're supposed to get together in big groups,
right?
And thank the slave master freeing us. You see that Abraham Lincoln statue up?
Yeah.
It's horrible. He stands like this, and he has his hand on the head of the slaves out, like they're his pets out.
Man, but that's what's being pushed for how to commemorate Juneteenth as a federal holiday.
I didn't catch that one.
Yeah, that's slick, bro. That's real slick.
Real slippery, right?
So he said, but they know what they're doing. He said, what? Read this right here in verse 2.
They thanked them and besought them pardon for that they had been enemies.
Forgive us that we had been your enemies. But that mind frame only comes into play when their nation is what?
Threatened.
When their nation is threatened. That means that they only come into cognition and recollection of their sins only when their nation begins to suffer.
They thank us for not doing that to you anymore.
Yeah.
That's really crazy. Guys.
That is. That's wild, bro. So that it shows you that they know that there has to be a reason behind their suffering. They understand it. Read on. But they only understand it when their posterity, when their rulership is being threatened. But then in return, they come back even harder on us. Because they really don't mean it. Read on.
Verse 3. Instead whereof thou gavest them a burning pillar of fire.
So the Most High gave them darkness, and He gave us a what?
A burning
pillar of fire.
Read on.
Both to be a guide of the unknown journey.
Because you know what what He showed us? That even though we were witnessing in Egypt the downfall of a nation, or the beginning of a downfall of a nation, the Most High said, I'm going to send forth the pillar of burning fire for your unknown journey. You know what that means? We don't know how or when the Most High is going to pull us out of here. But guess what we do know?
Amazing.
The Most High is with us, even in these last days that are about to get worse. Read on.
And an harmless son to entertain them honorably.
Go ahead.
Verse 4. For they were worthy to be deprived of light.
It says, but the Egyptians were worthy to be deprived of light. They deserve to be in that position. Just like America now deserves to be in this position of a recession. They deserve it. How have you raped, robbed, and pillaged a generation of over 500 million Native American Indians, overtaken the Aztecs, the Toltecs, the Olmecs, the Incas, the Mayans, the Alaskans? You didn't destroy it from sea to shining sea through manifest destiny, and then brought another 500 million slaves over to the Americas, North, Central, and South America, and worked them for free labor for 350 years before we decide to say, let's let them go. He said they deserve this. Read on.
And imprisoned in darkness.
It says they deserve to be imprisoned in darkness. Go ahead.
Who had kept thy sons shut up.
It says they kept our sons what?
Shut up.
Shut up where? Where is our sons shut up now?
In prison.
In prison. Correctional facilities.
Detention center.
Detention centers. Youth correction facilities.
Juvenile halls.
Juvenile detention centers. Or committed to the state hospital for mental illness.
And experimentation.
And for experimentation.
And keep it real with you, and I know you already know this. As far as even with the abortion rate, the children, the genes and the stem cells of the black babies that are being killed, those, like, you know, you get a car and you break the car down for parts, the parts. The same thing with the abortions.
They take the
blood
parts of the baby,
the cord blood. They use the cord blood because that cord blood is rich and new cells.
Fetus.
No, the cord blood, the blood that's in the cord, and that's in the placenta. That's rich blood, full of new cells. Those are stem cells. Those stem cells are regenerative cells, and they study those cells, and they try to inject those cells, salvage them, freeze them, use them for different variations of chemicals to give themselves life. How can I extend our lives by those stem cells? Because if we can take them new stem cells and inject them in somebody else, then we can give somebody an extension on their life. Because that's fresh, rich blood. Yes, sir.
I was told that experiment was also used for, you know what I'm saying, the so-called, the Edomites would use the vampire facial to keep their face still more younger.
Yeah, that too.
There's all kind of things they do with that new blood. That new blood is full of life. But he said what?
Verse 4. For they were worthy to be deprived of light, and imprisoned in darkness, who had kept thy sons shut up.
And we've gotten extensive prison sentences for the most minor offenses. We've gotten the worst treatment when it comes to the most minor offenses, and have the most. We have the smallest population in America, but make up the largest majority of prisoners in the United States.
And we're over-policed.
Over-policed, and we have the most committed to some type of asylum, some type of treatment center, some type of facility, some type of clinic, mental facility. Read on.
By whom the uncorrupt light of the law was to be given unto the world.
He says, the ones that they shut up, you got to really listen to what he's saying right here. The ones that they're persecuting is the ones that are supposed to bring the light of the law to the world. Who is Herod chasing after? Christ being what? The governor, the future ruler of Israel. Who is Egypt destroying?
Future leaders.
The future leaders of who?
Israel.
So who are they after?
The young kids.
They're after your children. He said this is why they deserve to be shut up in prison. CPS, custody battles, pulled in by the state, thrown in foster care systems. Because that threatens, when their kingdom is threatened, they go after your children. They make sure that you don't raise up as a nation.
That was part of the Willie Lynch letter.
That was part of the Willie Lynch letter, Diaries of Willie Lynch. They go after your children, so that your children don't raise up.
So if I'm falling, if I can push you down, I'll stay on top.
I'll stay on top. All this has been done before, and it's going to be done again now. And this is what we have to expect coming from the devil. Read on.
By whom the uncorrupt light of the law was to be given unto the world.
It says it was us that was chosen to give the light to the world through the laws of the Most High. Read on.
And when they had determined to slay the babes.
It said they determined to do what?
Slay the babes.
What did Egypt do?
Slay the babes.
What did the Idumean Edomite ruler Herod do in Bethlehem?
Slay the babes.
It's always going to, as things get worse, who are they going to come after?
The babes.
The babes. Your children. They're going to take their wrath out on your kids because they know that's what you care about. Yes, sir.
Can you also say that they another way of taking out kids is based off of subliminal messages, movies and stuff like that, like that professes their agenda?
Of course.
That's what I was thinking, like music
like Buzz Lightyear that just came out with the two gender same sex kissing each other.
Oh, Disney. When you get a chance, check out that sister that was one of the editors or producers of Disney movies.
What's her name?
I forgot her name, but check it out. She said with her own mouth that every she's a bi person, but she said out of her mouth every opportunity she gets, she pushes her agenda and try to infiltrate and push, her beliefs into every single movie, every scene. Check it out when you get a chance, and you can find it. You just Disney producer that admits what her agenda is.
This is a sister?
This is a sister. This is a sister.
That's like a person that's not for our people.
No, but this is what's allowed, and they are coming for your children. What does your 3-year-old need to know about sexuality and gender?
They even had in California they had this Transformer choir, and they sang "We're coming for your children." They sang it in unison. They said, "We're coming for your children. We're coming for you." And nothing you can do about it. And they have NAMBLA.
Yeah,
North American Man
Boys Lovers Association. So we know what happens when a spirit is being rooted out. They're gonna come down with great wrath. But in particular, they come down on your children. That's why I said they do what? Verse 5.
Verse 5. And when they had determined to slay the babes of the saints.
And that's what their determination is going to be. That's what all the abortion is about. That's what the abortion clinics are about. It's about slaying the babes. Same thing Herod, the leader, the Idumean Edomite Herod did to the children in Bethlehem, is the same thing Egypt did.
You broke down. He even broke down years ago about the gator bait.
Yeah, using our babies for gator bait to pull gators out the swamp. Tie a baby to a stick, 2-year-old, let him crawl, let the gator come out as bait. So there's postcards, there's little figurines that show our babies being used as gator bait.
And
So
they joke about it. They joke about it on those postcards.
there's postcards, stamps. It was thank you cards, holiday cards being given, postcards. That was used as a mockery.
Fairy games in the 40s and 20s.
Yeah. So, but he said the particular attack is going to be on the children. Read on.
One child being cast forth and saved.
But that one child is Moses, because you know what the Most High does? The Most High, just like the Most High sent an angel to tell Mary and Joseph to flee to Egypt, because they understood that the wrath of Herod was coming down on the children. The Most High preserved Christ, just like He preserved when Egypt was coming down on the babes. The Most High said He preserved Moses.
Come.
To do what?
To reprove them.
To do what?
To reprove them.
To do what?
To reprove them.
Now, what we're going to do is kind of show what type of reproof was Moses going to do to this nation. He says to reprove them. Read. Give me the definition of reproof. Or reprove.
Reprove. To blame. To censure.
To blame what?
To blame or to censure.
To censor.
To censor.
That means to silence. It says to blame or to censor. Go ahead.
To convince of a fault.
So the Most High preserved Moses to convince Egypt of what?
Of a fault.
Of a fault. And that's the same thing the Most High is doing now in our preservation. We're supposed to be preserved to show this nation their what?
Their fault.
Their fault.
Their faults.
And we're going to prove it. Go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2.
God.
What verse?
Start at verse 6.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 and verse 6. Come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present.
It says this is the mind frame of the wicked. He said, let us enjoy the what?
The good things that are present.
Go ahead.
And let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth.
Go ahead.
Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointment.
It says, let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointment. Read on.
And let no flower of the spring pass by us. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered.
Now, read verse 6 one more time. And I'm going to show some reality behind this mindset, and some truth behind this mindset during times that we were in captivity. Go ahead.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 verse 6. Come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present.
Go ahead.
And let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth.
Go ahead.
Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointment.
Go ahead.
And let no flower of the spring pass by us. Let us crown ourselves with rosebud before they wither.
Now, this was the entire aspect, mind frame, culture of the Greco-Roman Empire. Read this right here, and it says, the Roman banquet evokes voluptuous images. From right there.
The Roman banquet evokes voluptuary images of men in togas reclining on couches and glutting themselves.
And what?
Glutting themselves.
And glutting themselves. Go ahead.
On wild sows' udders.
So wild pigs, that they were sucking on wild pigs' udders. Go ahead.
And stuffed snails.
And eating stuffed snails. Read on. They were eating pig udders and stuffed snails. Read on.
while servants streamed in bearing platters.
So servants came in bearing what?
Platters.
Platters of what?
Heaped with heavily sauced and delicacy spiced foods from all over the world. Ostrich from Africa.
Ostrich from Africa. What else?
Pepper and sugarcane from India.
Go ahead.
Cumin from Ethiopia.
Read.
Sumac from Syria.
Go ahead.
Olives from Greece. And perennial Roman favorite, the fleshy homegrown fig.
Go ahead.
Wine is drunk in copious amounts.
It says, so amongst the banquet that they would engorge themselves with, he says that they would drink wine in copious amounts. Go ahead.
From double-handled silver cups.
So they would have not a cup with one handle like a coffee cup. They would drink wine with a double-handled cup, man.
Trophy.
Yeah, like a trophy cup. That's how they drink their wine, with a two-handed cup. Read on.
While a lyre
Lyre
plays in the background, they are performing tropes, poets, even the occasional leopard, and sometimes rose petals.
And sometimes what?
And sometimes rose petals.
What does it say right here in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2? The mind frame of the wicked, of the ungodly.
Come on, therefore, and let us enjoy the good things that are present, and let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth.
Go ahead.
Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments.
And wine and ointments. What else?
And let no flower of the spring pass by.
And let us no flower of the spring pass by. Go ahead.
Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds.
And let us crown ourselves with what?
Rosebuds.
He said right here in the history of
sometimes
Rome.
rose petals flutter down from on high.
It said, and sometimes rose petals flutter down from on high.
It's raining rose petals.
So while they were eating and filling themselves, this was the culture. Indulgence was the culture. They would sprinkle rose petals down from the ceiling to create the best atmosphere possible. And when you read on in this, go ahead.
One sadistic host, the emperor Elagabalus, built a banquet hall with a false ceiling that tilted open, allowing a torrent of flowers to rain down upon his unsuspecting guest, smothering to death those unable to crawl out from under the floral deluge.
Yeah, so
people were dying.
People were suffocating in roses, man.
That's insanity, huh?
They were suffocating. That's how bad they were indulging. It said that they were suffocating from rose petals. That's how many rose petals that they would drop down from the damn ceiling while they engorged themselves in a variety of meals and meats.
Allowing a torrent.
A torrent is a flood
of flowers to rain down upon his unsuspecting guest, smothering to death those unable to crawl out from under the floral deluge.
Yep. So he's showing you the mentality was indulge. Indulgence is the mentality. And he said this is the mind frame of the ungodly. It says let no flower. What verse is that? Verse 8. Verse 7 and 8.
Come. Wisdom of Solomon 2 and verse 7. Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of the spring pass by us. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. Let none of us go.
I mean, this ain't no old rosebuds. It's been sitting there for 20 years. We just got too many.
Right.
In surplus. These are picked every day, or within at least a couple days.
These are fresh, man, as much as possible, because it was about indulging in the moment, seizing the moment, capturing the moment, indulging.
That's similar to YOLO, right?
Yeah, you only live once.
It's almost harder than YOLO.
Yeah, but you know, when you read the beginning of this Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, we didn't read it all. That was the mentality. We're only here for a short time, so you might as well indulge. Enjoy yourself. Read this right here.
The great Roman gourmet, Marcus Gavius Apicius, who compiled what is the only surviving cookbook of the Roman Empire.
Go ahead.
De Re Coqueria, the art of cooking, lists more than 400 recipes from camel heels.
They were eating what?
Camel heels.
Now they eating camel heels, man. Camel heels. What else?
Parrot.
Parrot.
It's ridiculous.
Go ahead.
coxcombs, venison, pheasant, thrush, rabbit, goose liver, brain stuffed sausages, peacock, flamingo, caviar stuffed crayfish, cranes, ostrich, ham, legumes, vegetables, and an array of seafood from sea urchins to red mullet, bass, bonito, and snails, with special spoons were designed. They had special spoons
to eat the snail.
Wow, you got a special spoon. Bring out the special spoons.
It's,
It's
yes, sir.
Special. I was just gonna add, they left out dormice, which was a delicacy.
Yeah, dormice.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, dormice.
It's a delicacy.
I didn't know that. I know that they crafted special spoons to eat the snail, to pull the snail out of the damn shell.
Bring out the special spoons out. We're gonna go get some snail night. Snail night.
So it's showing you the extent that these people are willing to go in order to fill themselves with pleasure. That mentality by definition, and we're going to get let's go ahead and get the definition right quick. I think you got it right. Hedonism.
Yep.
That's the spirit that was alive and well during the Greco-Roman Empire, and that's the mentality that we're supposed to be reproving here in America. That's the same spirit that's alive here in America. You know, when you go to what's that damn supposedly high eating, not Red Lobster, but the other one.
L.A. crawfish?
No, not L.A. crawfish.
By North
Papados.
Papados.
Because everybody think that's delicate eating.
Ooh, you going to Papados?
Everybody think that's fine cuisine.
Yeah.
But you eating the same thing the Romans ate.
Wow. True.
You eating the same thing the Greeks ate, that they considered was a delicacy, because it was about the spirit of indulgence. So many of our people is caught up in what this society has to offer and the mentality of this society. Read that definition of hedonism.
So what you're saying is when they ate different type of animals,
hedonism,
they were indulging in their lust to
yes,
eat more and more of it.
Because it was to the point of vomiting.
They had vomitoriums.
They had vomitoriums, to where it was about the indulgence of pleasure. It wasn't about eating for substance or nutrition. It was about overindulgence.
Competition.
Not competition. It was for the sake of pleasure.
Okay.
We're eating not for nutrients, but just to engorge ourselves for the flavors and the sauces and the textures.
Jefferson will help out.
Yeah, kind of.
All right, right here. Hedonism. Greek, hedon. In Greek, hedon means pleasure. Ism is just, that's the concept.
Yeah.
So pleasurism. All right? The ethical theory that pleasure in the sense of the satisfaction of desires, they clean it up a little bit, is the highest good and proper aim of human life. So they're saying it's a branch of philosophy, because the Greeks had Greek philosophy. This philosophy is the highest aim of life, and the whole aim of life is to intensify every pleasure you can possibly feel, and to fill it to the max. You gotta be maximus. You have to max out in every level of pleasure possible to be this branch of philosophy.
It almost also means to have the absence of pain.
Okay, of course.
That means that if it was anything feeding the flesh, whether it was perfume, there was no limit to it. If it was eating, there was no limit to it. If it was any type of pleasure that you could acquire, any type of sex that you wanted,
No moderation.
no moderation. It was about completely indulging into the flesh.
Hedonism, Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. The word hedonism comes from the ancient Greek word for pleasure. Psychological or motivational hedonism claims that the only pleasure or pain Psychological or motivational hedonism claims that only pleasure or pain motivates us. Ethical or evaluative hedonism claims that only pleasure has worth or value, and only pain or displeasure has disvalue or the opposite of worth. So the higher value, the higher level of pleasure you can indulge in. That's almost like the American dream.
That, yeah, it would be. Kind. Yes, sir.
I was just gonna say that, and we know the Most High is not with us, because with the Most High, we didn't need all these things to have pleasure. And to prove that, in Proverbs 15 and 17, it says, "Better is a dinner of herbs where love is, than a stalled ox and hatred therewith."
So what he's showing?
So he's showing that that we didn't need all this indulgence in order to get pleasure. The pleasure was not with all these tangible physical things.
Kind. It wasn't, and that's that mentality is what we're supposed to be reproving here in America. Because all the rappers rap about what?
Hedonism.
Hedonism.
But
Not in the beginning.
No, not in the beginning. But before it was bought out by companies that no longer support our
By
people.
Amalek.
Yeah, by Amalek.
Yeah.
By Esau. But before it was bought out and controlled, it had a message.
Fire, bro.
It had a positive message.
I gotta read one more thing, bro.
Come. And he said, I like what you just pulled right there, because hold that.
No, that's all good.
I like what you said, but read it one more time.
Better is a dinner of herbs where love is, than a stalled ox and hatred therewith.
What verse is that?
That's Proverbs chapter 15, verse 17.
Go to Proverbs 16 and 19.
Proverbs chapter 16, verse 19. Better it is to be of an humble spirit.
It said, better it is to be of a what?
Of an humble spirit.
Go ahead.
With the lowly, than to divide the spoil with the proud.
Then, because so that's, you know what? So it's about perspective. What this society teaches you is that if you don't have no money and you're not enjoying yourself, you're not eating at the finest restaurants, if you don't have the finest apparel, if you don't have name brand clothing, then you ain't nothing. You're not living life. You're not living life, because it's about status. It's about where you live, what you drive, how much money you make, what you have on, and where you eat at, and what you have for dinner. How many vacations you got going on? What your credit score is? The underlying mentality of America is hedonism. Yes, sir.
I was gonna say, also, we know it's not, we know the amount of indulgence doesn't matter, because if there's still hatred when you got all this meat prior to just like a salad or something, then it's obviously not about the amount of indulgence that's what gives you pleasure.
No, you're right.
And satisfaction.
I like what you're saying. Read Proverbs 17 and 1. I like what you said. Read Proverbs chapter 17 verse 1.
Proverbs chapter 17 verse 1. Better is a dry morsel.
It said better is a what?
A dry morsel.
You know what? If you don't have what everybody else has, if you can't keep up with the Joneses, you can't drive what everybody's so-called driving with the Phantom or the Mercedes, or you don't have the Jordans on, and you don't have the polo outfit on. If you don't have all these things, it said better is a dry morsel. You can't eat at the 5-star restaurants. You can't indulge like the rest of the population can indulge. You don't have the means. He said, but better is a dry morsel. Go ahead.
And quietness.
He said, but you got what?
And quietness.
But you got quietness. Go ahead.
Therewith, then in house of full of sacrifices.
He said, but you got a house full of sacrifices, because you got a house that's full of overindulgent items that are systemized for your for your pleasure. A whole house full of sacrifices. You got the latest and greatest toys. You got the latest and greatest fashion. You got a full closet of name brand clothes. Your whole pantry and your whole kitchen is full. You live well, but there's what?
House full of sacrifices with strife.
Then a house full of sacrifices with what?
With strife.
So what our people chase is indulgence, because whose mentality is all about indulgence?
Greeks.
It's the Greeks and the Romans. It's all about us following their mentality. And when we follow their mentality, we sacrifice peace at home. We'd rather have the latest and greatest items, materialistic wealth, than have peace. We undersell and undervalue peace and tranquility. We want pleasure even over peace.
That's facts.
But the Most High has shown you it's better to have peace in your house, but to live humbly, than to live like the so-called white man, but have strife at home. Because you know what that is? There's a lot of six-figure incomes, and there's a lot of divorces too. There's a lot of people married that have the latest and greatest fashion, cars, clothes, credit, finances, luxury items, latest purses, Birkin bags. They got Richard Mueller watches, but they're unhappy. And the house is full of turmoil. Then you got people that don't have it, that's trying to get it and pursuing it, and they're sacrificing the stability at home for the sake of some financial, physical pursuits.
Come.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, like growing up where I'm from in South Bronx, New York City, it was always like fashion. That was always the thing.
New York is a fashion capital.
Always. So it's like, if you didn't have the Uptowns, you didn't have the Air Forces, you didn't get the newest Jordans, it was almost like ridicule. You know what I'm saying? They always joked at you, oh man, you ain't got the new J's on the feet, man. Like what you got on your feet right now, man? And then everybody joking at you. But I like what you're saying though, man. Like it's better to even not even have all that stuff, but have a humble spirit, and then your house is good rather than strife and you got all this materialistic things at the house for what?
Yeah, we try to be like the Joneses. We like keep up with the Joneses, man. Keep up with people that we're not supposed to be like. We're not supposed to emulate the nations. We're not supposed to emulate them. We're supposed to be reproving them. We're supposed to be checking them.
Is it safe to say that we were conditioned that way, like throughout years and generations? You know what I'm saying? As Israelites. You know what I'm saying?
Kind. I say we were conditioned. I'm gonna tell you how we were conditioned. We're in who was in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2. How about that?
Okay, Wisdom of Solomon. I'm gonna tell you what conditioned us, right? You're in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2.
God.
Read verse 24.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, verse 24.
Read that.
Nevertheless, through envy of the devil.
What conditioned us to want to be and have the who's who and the latest and greatest of every new item that's ever put on the shelves in the market?
Envy of the devil.
Where did we get it from to want to drive old white man cars?
Envy of the devil.
Big cars that we can't afford as soon as the motor go out.
Envy of the devil.
As soon as the window mechanism go out, you gotta drill a screw in there to keep the window up because you can't afford to go get a new window motor in a damn car.
Envy of the devil. Lexus.
Yeah, he said because who?
The envy of the devil.
What conditioned us to want to be like the nations in this voluptuous, overindulgent lifestyle that they live?
Envy of the devil.
What conditioned us to do it?
The envy of the devil.
The envy of the devil did what?
Came death into the world.
That killed us as a nation of people. Us trying to emulate the other nations with the lifestyle that they have. The luxury items, the lifestyle, that's the house that they live in, the size of the home.
We want to bleach our skin. We want to blonde our hair.
We want to drive their cars. We want to wear their clothes. Tell me he'll figure out. He said he didn't make the clothes for blacks and Hispanics. He said it out of his own mouth. I didn't make these clothes for you. But he's still in business.
And then what's so crazy is he said there's another color line, Robin jeans. Said he made it specifically for like LGBTQ people.
Listen, took over Robin jeans.
Listen, these people didn't. He said, I didn't make this for you. I didn't come out with this red, white, and blue design pattern for your people. I didn't make this for the lower class. But the more it wasn't for us, the more you saw us buying it.
Yeah, we love it, man. You gotta fight to be included. That's how you get the $black. You tell them you can't have it.
You can't have it. All you gotta do is play keep away. All you gotta do is It say, are you sure? Can I help you in the store? Oh, Walmart is down the street. Were you coming in here?
I got money.
Yeah,
I got money.
They even made stuff that was offended to like the blackface of Gucci. Like
Gucci blackface.
Gucci blackface.
Literally, they got
in the
blackface.
Burberry hoodie with the noose on it.
With the gorilla, with the baby in the what's the one who
that's
made
H&M.
H&M had
That's
the
H&M.
Coolest monkey.
coolest monkey in the jungle.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and we know who that was about. And you know what we'll do? We'll go put it on. All you got to do is tell us we can't have it, and we'll want it the more. Because what's driving us to want to emulate the lifestyle of the nations? That hedonistic lifestyle.
Envy of the devil.
It's envy of the devil, and by envy of the devil, what happens to us?
Death came into the world.
But that's nothing new. You know what it comes down to? It does come down to us wanting to be like them. Because they seem like they're doing well. Go to Psalm 73. David said it perfectly. Read on. That's what's killing us. When he said death come into the world, that's what's killing our people. We want to be like the enemy. We don't want to detach from this place.
You're right.
The Most High in 2022 has a recession, which is the beginning of a downfall of an empire. But yet we're still shopping. We still want their purses. We still want their shoes, their purses, their clothing, their lifestyle, their homes, their jewelry.
You want their drip, huh?
We want their diet.
Right. And how do you know? You see them in the mall.
Right.
you see them.
It's the online habits. So you see what we brag about.
Yeah.
We have our own neighborhood and community. We say, listen, you know, I live by the Dominion. I live by them. I don't live there, but I live by them. We'll brag about living close to them.
Right. I live down the street from them. Or I'll brag about working a job right next to them. You know, I'm the only black on the job.
Like it's a
Like,
bad honor.
yeah, it's a bad honor.
Basically, if you're
Yeah.
around that perimeter, you're doing good.
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm the only black guy in the whole office. Oh, okay.
You love that, huh? You love to say that.
Yeah, you're doing well.
You're doing really good.
You're doing really good. Well, you know, this is the problem with our people. We're trying to become accustomed to the lifestyle of a society that's falling apart.
Dying to be tokens.
Dying to be tokens, and dying to emulate what they possess, and it's already on the way down.
Come.
Yeah.
And that's what's getting us caught up. But David said the same thing. Psalm 73.
73 and 1.
Yep.
Psalms chapter 73 and verse 1. Truly, the Most High is good to Israel.
He said, but truly the Most High is good to who?
Israel.
Read on.
Even to such as are of a clean heart.
He says, but even such that are of a what?
Of a clean heart.
So what's more importantly is that you got a clean mind. That you're not plagued with your sins. Read on.
But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. For
Why?
I was envious at the foolish.
He said, because I was envious at the who?
At the foolish.
Because that lifestyle, that hedonistic lifestyle that we experienced during the Greco-Roman time, even slaves here in America, the lifestyle of I made it, I'm successful, so I should be accepted because I drive this kind of car, I live in this type of neighborhood, I eat this kind of food, I wear this brand of clothing, I have this kind of jewelry, my credit score is of this status, I'm in the upper, I have a perfect credit score. This is driving our people away from the Most High, emulating the damn devil. And the Most High is trying to collapse the damn devil society, and we're trying to be just like him. How do we know? He said envy of what?
For I was envious at the foolish.
He said, I was envious at the foolish. All throughout the Bible, you can find out what causes Israel to not wake up out of their sleep. For us to keep following pursuit of a dying culture. Hold this real quick. Go to 2nd Ezra, chapter 3. 2nd Ezra chapter 3. And I want you to read verse... Start at verse 1.
2nd Ezra chapter 3 and verse 7.
1.
1.
In the 30th year after the ruin of the city, I was in Babylon, and lay troubled upon my bed.
He said, I was in Babylon. This is Ezra speaking. He said, I was in the 30th year of the ruin of the city of Jerusalem. He said, I was in Babylon. Read.
And lay troubled upon my bed.
Read on.
And my thoughts came up over my heart. For I saw the desolation of Sion.
He said, I saw my people suffering. Read on.
And the wealth of them that dwelt at Babylon.
But he said, I saw my people suffering, but I also saw what?
The wealth of them that dwelt at Babylon.
So this is what's bothering Ezra. He said, my people are on the bottom suffering, but I see the Babylonians living good. I see the Babylonians having things.
Winning.
Having things, man. You know, because that's what they have, man. They have things that we don't have. They're winning.
They had hanging
Gardens
and all that.
Yeah, the illustrious Babylon.
Gold, everything was
eight
made out of
wonders of the world. One of the 8 wonders of the world. The hanging gardens of Babylon. They had temples with different stones made to their griffins and their deities. When you read about Ishtar's gate, it looks like you were walking. It looks like you were walking into a throne.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful. They had different lapses, different colors. Lapses was the color, turquoise. They had yellow, gold stones and tiles gating the whole. And the walls were tremendous.
Wow.
And the gates, to open the gates, it was like you was entering into heaven.
Question: Was they areas around like water and stuff like that? Was it on water or whatnot?
No, that was the Mexico City. That was Tenochtitlan. That was the capital city of Mexico, where Cortez, when he came over the mountain, he saw the floating city, and he said, "Man, this is heaven on earth," because the city was floating in the middle of a lake, and they had fruits and gardens floating on the lake.
It's perfect.
And you couldn't even access the city unless you took a boat to get to the middle of the lake. Couldn't even access the city. So he said, man, I found heaven on earth. That's what Cortez said. But talking about the Babylonians, man, Ezra was on his bed, and he was like, man, I was troubled. I was troubled on my bed. Matter of fact, hold this. No, keep reading. Keep reading. Let me find this real quick.
And my spirit
Somebody get to Josephus real quick.
And my spirit was sore moved, so that I began to speak words full of fear to the Most High, and said, O Lord, who bearest rule, thou spakest at the beginning, when thou didst plant the earth, and that thyself alone, and commandest the people, and gavest a body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship of thine hands, and didst breathe into him the breath of life.
Now jump down to verse 27.
Verse 27. And so thou gavest thy city over into the hands of thine enemies, and their deeds than any better that inhabit Babylon.
Read it slow so we can understand what he's saying.
And so thou gavest thy city over into the hands of thine enemies. Are their deeds than any better that inhabit Babylon?
It says, are their deeds any better than they that inhabit Babylon? What is he saying?
What they do as far as in their works.
He says, are they better than us? See, when you see when our people, through envy of the devil, like the scriptures say, when our people see the lavish lifestyle of the enemies, of our suppressors and oppressors, when we see our lifestyle, their lifestyle, we think that what?
They're better than us.
They're better than us. And they better than us, man.
Is that not the provoking the jealousy of the Most High talked about in Deuteronomy?
God. It did say that. But he also said it. He also said why in Romans. But I want you to finish. Hold that. Because this is the mentality that Ezra is battling with. He's battling with this mentality of if you're bringing them down, then why are they living better than us? If we're supposed to be the chosen people, why are they indulging in the best lifestyle? You know what that causes? That causes a form of doubt.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing.
Amongst our people.
Come on. The spirit of disbelief and being cynical of the Father. Or not skeptical. It's a better word. Spirit of being skeptical. You have that skeptical mind. Why do I have to live like this? Why is life complicated in the truth? Why do things have to be so strict and stringent?
Keep going, because I'm gonna find this point.
Why is life strict and stringent? Why is life complicated? Why is life not as luxurious and indulgent as nations? Why can't I have these? I'm not asking for much. I'm only asking for these few pleasures.
Yeah.
I want this amount of time. The time is for the purpose of looking for those pleasures. These are the things, the complaints that Hebrews be having.
Yeah.
The basis of the complaints is from not having what the Greeks have, not having what the Romans have. How come we can't do these certain things that I see other people doing? It's always, why can't we do what they're doing? It's very similar to a child and a parent. And the parent's strict on the child, like, listen, we're not going to do what these other kids are doing. You can't go out there and you can't be out the house out all night, but they can. You can't sit here and wear this kind of makeup, these kind of clothes, but my friends can. That's not age appropriate. Well, it may not be age appropriate for you, but my friends are doing it. That's the mentality that our children have in their immaturity. But as a nation, Israel's not full grown. Israel's extremely immature as a nation. So the way our children rebel against us in their adolescent years, because they can't experience and have these sleepovers and be out with their friends all night, and they can't dress a certain way and listen to certain music, and they can't watch this and watch that and indulge in different things. We're the same way to the Father. Why can't we sit here and have escort go? Why can't we sit here and indulge in these certain sensual practices that the nations can do? They're enjoying pleasures we had no access to. We had to have this type of pleasure when it comes to copulation, but they have multiple doors of pleasure that we're not allowed even to enter, to even enjoy. That's how our people think. We get envious of the devil. They have gods we can't worship. They're at peace. They're getting blessed. They're getting rain in their crops. We have to be in order and discipline and structure and work hard to get our rain, but their rain comes from this bowing to this idol. Why do we have to live a more strict, stringent, austere life, but these nations are liberated? So what they do, they offer empowerment to our women. What they do, they offer defilement to our children. What they do, they offer more labor for us, so we have to afford to buy these pleasures because we're not real men if we don't give Christmas to the house. We're not real men if we don't have a woman dressed a certain way. We're not real men if we're not driving a certain kind of car.
Well, she don't got a ring on her finger.
We're not real men. That ring is a new thing. That was Pope Innocent III instituted the wedding ring. But we're not real men if we don't follow these Greek, Roman, pagan customs. You're not a real man if you can't equal the customs of the Gentiles. So what do? We're Hebrews. I want to live like, I want to keep the laws and commandments of the Most High. I know how about you not sharp with thought. I know I'm an Israelite. I know I'm a Jew. Right. I know but can I just have this little thing here?
Yep.
Could that be the battle?
You know, the battle comes from a contradiction of what you believe, or you're supposed to believe in. You're supposed to be denouncing the heathen and reproving the heathen, but you're dressing like the heathen. You're driving the heathen type cars. You envy their lifestyle. You envy their wardrobe, their freedoms, their liberties, their education. And that causes this dynamic where I know I'm an Israelite in one breath, but I really want what the nations got. I really envy how they live.
It sure would be nice.
It sure would be nice.
It always starts in joke form first. Because brother don't just come out, oh man, I just want to have the hair. They just make a joke about it. And then this gets extreme over time.
You know why? Especially if you haven't had anything and you don't know what it means to have. You don't know, if you don't know what it means to have, then you're in pursuit and you're driven, like 50 Cent said, by any means necessary.
Get rich or die trying.
You become like 50 Cent in that pursuit if you come from the bottom. And a lot of times, like Kawakar brought this up before, that the nations will use our poverty as a motivator to the pursuit of unlawful riches and unrighteous riches. They'll use our poverty against us, and they'll put that imagery up as a means for us to crave that lifestyle.
Wow.
And to chase that lifestyle. And so and for the fact that we've been kept out of this so-called elite status,
Facts.
we pursue the lifestyle even that much more. But it's our people are like that. For example, I'll give you an example of that. Go to Acts. Go to Acts. I'm gonna give you an example of that real quick. I want you to go to Acts chapter 12. Just so how crazy our people are. Go to Acts chapter 12. And I want you to read verse 1 of how this causes this. It's almost like I'll sell out the Most High what I know is right as a brother, as an Israelite, for the sake of some pleasure or some approval by the nations.
Right.
What I'm doing isn't good enough. I have more potential.
Yeah, I got more potential.
You hold me
Man.
back. That's a real thing.
That's a real thing, brother.
That's a super real thing.
I got more potential than just serving the Lord. I could really be somebody in this life. I could really be somebody in the world. I have God-given talents that I'm not really living out because I'm too busy stuck here being held down. The truth is holding me down. It's slowing me up. It's not allowing me to really indulge and put my talents out there. I could be a better vessel if the Most High let me use my talents. This is not good enough. Being a teacher of the Most High is not good enough. But just to show you how crazy our people are, go to Acts chapter 12 verse 1.
Now about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church.
So now, guess what? Herod, this was another Herod, descendant of the Herod that was trying to put Christ to death, that put all those babies to death. This was a descendant. Go ahead.
And he killed James, the brother of John, with a sword.
And what did this Herod do?
He killed James, the brother of John, with a sword.
Now we know that James and John were brothers. Man, they came into truth together as disciples and apostles of Christ. They were called the sons of thunder, right?
Yeah.
We know that from what is that, Mark? Chapter 3. Go to Mark chapter 3 verse 17. Somebody read that.
Mark 3. Sorry.
You got it? Go ahead.
Mark 3 and 17. And James, the son of Zebedee.
So these two were the sons of Zebedee. Read on.
And John, the brother of James.
Go ahead.
And he surnamed them Boanerges, which is the sons of thunder.
These dudes were some mighty men in the truth. These two brothers that was in the truth. They were powerful in the truth in their loyalty to Christ. He said he surnamed them the sons of what?
Sons of thunder.
You don't get a name like the sons of thunder unless you're doing some mighty works in Christ. You don't get that kind of name. You don't get that kind of title unless you're doing some mighty works in Christ, unless you're faithful and you're a believer. But here he is, Herod, let's go back to Acts chapter 12, the Idumean, the Edomite ruler over our people, did what?
Stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church.
And so what do the Edomites do when their nation's in calamity?
Stretched forth their hands to vex certain of the church.
They always take it out on the who?
The church.
They always take it out on the church, the believers. Read on.
And he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword.
Go ahead.
And because he saw it pleased the Jews.
Hold on. He saw it did what?
It pleased the Jews.
Damn, that's how crazy our people are. Here it is. They killed James with the sword, and the Jews were what?
Pleased.
They were pleased. That's how crazy our people are. Read on.
He proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people.
So he was going to execute Peter after Passover. Read on.
Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto the Most High for him.
Okay, so now that was the next. He was about to take out Peter next. He already killed James with the sword. About to kill Peter, but the Most High allowed Peter. When you read this story, the Most High allowed Peter to escape. But through prayer from the church, an angel came down and broke Peter out of prison. When you read this story, but jump down to verse 20.
Verse 20. And Herod was highly displeased with them of Tyre and Sidon, but they came with one accord to him, and having made Blastus the king's chamberlain their friend, desired peace, because their country was nourished by the king's country. And upon a set day Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne, and made an oration unto them.
Now here it is that our people put to death James, a powerful servant and apostle of the Most High Christ, and our people implored him. And here comes now Herod giving a speech. Now I want you to pick up this speech in the Josephus. I want somebody to go to Josephus, page 523, and I want you to go to book 19, chapter 8, paragraph 2. Yeah, please pass it around.
Book 19, what was it, chapter?
Book 19, chapter 8, and I want you to go to paragraph 2. So in the scripture you read read verse 21 again.
Acts 12 and 21. And upon a set day Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne, and made an oration unto them.
Now an oration is a speech. Let's go ahead and pick up in the Josephus.
At the beginning of 2.
Uh-huh.
Now, when Agrippa had reigned 3 years over all Judea, Slakia, he came to the city Caesarea, which was formerly called Stratos Tower, and there he exhibited shows in honor of Caesar.
So what he was doing, he was putting on banquets for Caesar, and it says, and upon a set day Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne and made an oration unto him. So then Josephus is going into the details of this situation in the oration. Read on.
And there he exhibited shows in honor of Caesar, upon his being informed that there was a certain festival celebrated to make vows for his safety, at which festival a great multitude was gotten together of the principal persons, and such as were of dignity through his province. On the second day of which shows he put on a garment made wholly of silver.
It says Herod put on a garment made wholly of what?
Silver.
That means that everything was silver on the garment. The thread was silver. The arms were silver. The belt, the girdle was silver. Everything, the tunic was silver.
All silver, everything.
It was all silver, everything. That means his leather sandals were silver. The laces were silver. The whole apparel was made out of silver.
It's crazy, bro. This is crazy.
That's
crazy, bro.
That's how you. But this is what the nations do. The nations know how to get our attention.
Damn.
The nations know how to get our attention.
That's
bro.
crazy, bro.
Make the whole garment out of silver. Read on.
And of a contexture.
Read on.
Truly wonderful.
And so he said this contexture was truly wonderful. This silver garment was a work of art. Complete silver. Read on.
And came into the theater early in the morning.
He said he came to the theater early in the morning. Read on.
At which time the silver of his garment, being illuminated by the fresh reflection of the sun's rays upon it.
So it's showing you that Herod was stunting. Herod was shining. He was stunting. He was flexing.
I don't know how he can stunt harder in an all silver outfit.
First thing in the morning.
When the sun is out.
You caught the early part of the sun gleaming off your whole garment. You know your crown. You know his crown was silver. A whole silver outfit.
He's matching.
Coordinated. He said it says the contexture truly wonderful. Go ahead.
shone out after a surprising manner.
It said, and it was so bright. It was so bright when the early morning light hit it. It blinded people's eyes. Man, it was surprising to look at. Read on.
It was so resplendent and to spread a horror over those that looked intently upon him.
It was shocking to look at. Read on.
And presently his flatterers cried out.
His what?
Flatterers cried out.
Who was his flatterers? Who was pleased that he put James to death?
Israel.
Jews, man.
Our people.
Our people. Who's hyping up this Idumean?
The one whose family is known for killing our children.
Yeah, whose forefather just killed our 2-year-old and under, trying to take out Christ. Who's hyping up and bigging up and flattering the Idumean, the Edomites? It's us, man.
It shows you that, you know, like from the riot of George Floyd, you know, like just like far as in him
you gotta speak up.
getting his neck pinned down to the street, to the pavement, and we will still support this, you know, this not community but this country still, even though they don't.
Our people have short-term memory when it comes to affliction.
It's
From
affliction,
from the devil.
assassinations, COINTELPRO,
Yeah.
annihilation of anybody that stood up as a somewhat of a leader of our people.
You know, it's crazy. Like that same year, they'll have a parade, and that community will flaunt what they have in the parade, and we'll all be like, yeah.
Yeah, it just shows what our main focus is.
Like what?
It really, if you want to look
Like
at eras, if you want in the same notion, look at the eras. 60s, we was fighting and marching and going to war, getting bit by dogs under that leadership to get rights. And then 70s we was partying, had bell bottoms on, froze out, we was
disco,
just dancing and roller skating. It was all good. Then after that age, we just sit here getting addicted to all kind of different chemicals. We completely forget the suffering and go into party mode when we get a little inch. We pseudo celebrate.
A pseudo celebrate. A little, like Andre, like Three Stacks said, we pseudo celebrate because it's a small victory. We consider a flashy cars. We got a Lexus. It be old as hell, but I got one. I got a Cadillac. Be old as hell, but I got one. But it's clean. But it's clean though. You know. But you know what? That a little victory, just to get a piece of luxury.
Yeah.
But you know, it's our people that emulate the devil. Because this man just put James to death, and he come out with an all silver garment, and here we are doing what?
And presently his flatterers cried out, one from one place, and another from another.
What did they say?
Though not for his good.
What did they say though? Read on.
That he was a god.
That he was a what?
A god.
So how does our people look at the so-called white man? Because they want to be just like him.
The goat.
Because he is a god for our people. God's anything that you bow down and worship.
Yep. Our people will not detach, because all he has to do is put on something to make people look at him a certain way, and that image is what we want.
All I gotta do is be Kevin Costner in The Bodyguard, and we lose all of our ribs, huh?
Yeah.
You gotta sit here and save Whitney Houston, huh? He saved Whitney Houston,
and that's how the movie ends.
This white guy is just a good guy.
He's a hero,
and he just saved the sister out.
Yeah.
And our whole lose their mind out.
John Wayne.
Yeah. He's gotta be a hero in a movie.
The Last Samurai. The Last Boy Scout.
Listen.
That's a good movie.
Listen.
Those are good movies. Hey, I'm not tripping, man.
Malibu Most Wanted.
Hey, I'm not tripping. They great movies, man.
Malibu
You
Most
know.
Wanted.
You know, what's the one? That damn that movie. What's it called? The Vagrant or damn. What's that movie called? The Vagrant. I can't think of it, but it's with Leonardo DiCaprio where he plays the one of the
Vagabond.
No, not the vagabond, but he plays like a fur trader, and he had to sleep in the car. The Revenant. The Revenant. He's like the hero, man. The Revenant. Yeah, dope movies, man. Dope movies, but he's always a hero.
Yeah, they all are.
They're all the heroes, man. Sundance Kid, Billy the Kid. You know, all these movies.
Always the winners.
He's always the winner. He's always the hero. He's always the knight in shining armor.
I saved the day.
I
I came
saved
up
the
with a
day.
plan,
Yeah.
and my plan worked.
All the movies, he's the hero.
Come.
And that's all that our people look at. The knight in shining armor. He saved the day. This man is a god. And that's how our people look at Herod. Man, this man just put James to death.
Pocahontas.
But his
Joseph Smith,
his
John
outfit,
Smith.
yeah, Pocahontas. His outfit said what? His outfit didn't say he just killed James.
Exactly.
Yeah. The outfit said there was a God.
His outfit said, man, we should worship this man.
Yeah.
Look at this man's outfit. It shows you the mind frame of our people. It says through envy of the devil, it said death has come upon us, upon the earth. Yeah, this man just put a prophet of the Most High, an apostle of the Most High to death, and because he put on a whole new silver outfit that caught our attention, that we started flattering him, and we said this man is a god.
The same thing. They depicted that in a movie. It was a black man. He was kind of established. You know, he gets pulled over by law, and he has his wife with him. The law violates his wife in front of him, and then at the end of the movie, that same law saves his wife out of this car that she flipped over, and she's all hugging him, and it's all yeah, right. And it's like it's all good, like
It's
he's
all
great,
good,
like he's
right?
a great dude now.
Yeah, I'm a good.
Oh, he sexually assaulted him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He violated, so, you know, because we on YouTube, I was just trying to keep it. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
But,
keep it, you know what I'm saying?
PG,
PG.
but-
They got rhythms.
Yeah, but it went. It was like it went from this extreme in front of my husband violation to okay, it's all good. He just pulled me out of this car and let me hug it, and this great thing. It's like wow, that's literally how they depict us. Like
Right.
What they call that? Stockholm
Stockholm
syndrome.
syndrome. That's how bad. That's how sad the mentality of our people are. Read on.
it says that he was a god, and they added, "Be thou merciful to us."
And they added what else?
Come on.
Be thou merciful to us.
That's how stupid we are. Don't hurt him.
Don't hurt
Don't
him.
hurt him. Be merciful.
Hey, bro, let him go, man. Let him go.
He's a fly guy.
You know, that's the nature of the damn house servant, bro. That's the house slave. The house Negro. Definition. Don't hurt the master.
The ball bouncing.
Here Nat Turner is about to get your freedom, and you tell Nat Turner don't kill the master. She been good to us.
She did give me extra grape jelly.
She gave
the
me
day I asked.
two extra biscuits.
She gave me a slice of pumpkin pie when she had extra. She couldn't eat it, and she gave it to me. I'll never forget that day.
She gave me iced tea.
It was cold that day too.
Yeah. She gave me
Cold.
iced tea.
Come.
But you know what? That's our people, man. Our people are in love with their captors. That's why we can't disconnect.
There are some good ones.
There's some good ones. Not all of them are bad.
Don't you tell me that. Don't you lie.
Not everybody. They ain't all like that. There's good and bad in every race.
I know in every race. We all bleed red.
Our people are the number one pushers to salvage our oppressors. And to look at them like gods and that they deserve what?
Mercy.
And they deserve mercy, man. I'll be the first one. Pray for them. You just shot up the whole school and
The
the
whole church got shot up.
Just pray for them.
Get them hope.
What do you think the Most High is doing? The Most High is telling you to detach.
Yep.
That's why the Most High said, come out of her, my people. For she will what? She'll pollute you. She'll pollute thee. That's what the Most High said. You're supposed to be detaching from this culture. This hedonistic mindset. But our people, the more the Most High try to get us to detach, he just put your prophets to death. He just killed James. But we think this man is deserving of honor because of his outfit, and we say he deserved mercy. Simple-minded people. Simple. Read on.
For although we have hitherto reverenced thee only as a man.
It says, before we thought you was only a what?
Man.
He said, excuse us. Forgive us. Because previously, before you put that outfit on, you were just a man.
That's just the land.
Yeah, but now that you done put that whole silver outfit on, with what it say the apparel was, it says with illuminated by the fresh reflections of the sun rays. Or no, it says and of the contexture truly wonderful. It says and illuminated by the fresh reflection of the sun rays upon it. Man, our people changed their perspective in a heartbeat. Read on.
Yet shall we henceforth own thee as superior to mortal nature.
He said, you're superior to what?
Mortal
You're
nature.
beyond a man.
You're more than a man.
He can call us boy all day.
Yeah.
They ain't changed that.
But you know, as long as you're making Prada, and as long as you're making Fendi, as long as you're making Coach, as long as you keep it coming, Red Bottoms, Jimmy Choo, Dior,
Yeah.
Dior, Fendi, Dior. As long as you keep making that,
You know a Niger rich, but at least he'll figure rich.
yeah,
We sing about these things.
right. We sing about it. Not realizing, brother, because this is why we can't detach from him. Because we make him bigger than what he is. Read on.
Come. Upon this the king did neither rebuke them,
He didn't rebuke them. Read on.
nor reject their impious
Impious.
flattery. But as he presently afterwards looked up, he saw an owl sitting on a certain rope over his head. It immediately understood that this bird was the messenger of ill tidings.
It was a messenger of what?
Ill tidings.
Now, Josephus said this was an omen, but let's stick with the scriptures say. Go back to Acts chapter 12, and I want you to pick up on verse 21 again.
Acts 12 and 21.
You let that go.
And upon a set day, Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne and made an oration unto them. And the people gave a shout, saying,
He
"It
made
is
a
the
what? Oration. That's his. He made a great speech.
Yep.
That's what we love. Every time, every 4 years as politician, you see our people. Being our the number one people crying, falling out like he's saying something magical. Not the new president. All the other preceding presidents, they make speeches, addresses to the union.
Yep.
I would be ready
State
to cry.
of the Union, State of the Union address. Yeah, we love it, man. Our people. It fills us with new hopes.
Exactly.
And that's what it is. It's new hopes for the future. And that's all that these orations do. Give you hope to believe in a society that the Most High has already judged as crumbling. But because he's stunning, he looks like he's winning. He looks like he's up. So he's more than a man. Read on.
And the people gave a shout, saying, "It is the voice of a God."
It is what?
A voice of a God.
They said, man, this ain't no man. It's a voice of a what?
A God.
Read on.
And not of a man. And immediately the angel of the Most High smote him, because it gave not the Most High the glory. And he was eaten of worms and gave up the ghost.
That's the Most High.
Because you know what the Most High does? Man, you have to pay for your sins. And what we're witnessing in America is the payment by the falling, degradation, and the instability of the economy. We're watching the payment of 400 years of free slave labor and atrocities done in America to our forefathers. But we won't detach. But we won't detach because of what? Because of their status. And this is what the problem Ezra was having. This was causing him to not be able to sleep. Go back to where you was at. Let that go in Acts chapter 2. And go back to 2nd Ezra chapter 3. Read verse 1 and 2 again and go back to 27.
2nd Ezra chapter 3 and verse 1. In the 30th year after the ruin of the city, I was in Babylon, and lay troubled upon my bed, and my thoughts came up over my heart. For I saw the desolation of Sion, and the wealth of them that dwelt at Babylon. Verse 28. And their deeds than any better that inhabit Babylon, that they should therefore have the dominion over Sion. Slacken.
Yeah.
Are their deeds than any better that inhabit Babylon, that they should therefore have the dominion over Sion?
Right, that's verse 28. Go ahead. He said, Are they better than they that inhabit Babylon, that they should therefore have dominion over Zion? What makes them better than us? That's what Ezra is asking. What make the Babylonians better than us? Read on.
For when I came thither and had seen impieties without number, then my soul saw many evildoers in this 30th year, so that my heart failed me.
Go ahead.
For I have seen how thou sufferest them sinning.
He says, Ezra's is tripping out right now because he says, I've watched you sustain this country, these Babylonians, who have been impious without number. Their impieties were without number. The crimes that they've committed has been without number.
You can't count the crimes they've committed.
You can't count the extortion, the rape, rob, and pillage. You can't, the snatching, the Indian Removal Act. Get off this land or we're going to kill you.
The lies, the false truths.
The false shakes, the agreements, the false treaties, the false peace treaties, the trickery that was used to buy up profitable native land, either that was ancient burial sites or just very fruitful, being exchanged for little or nothing, or some eagle bells, or some mirrors, or some little trinkets that meant nothing. And these people were hustled out of whole entire farmlands and agriculture, or just completely annihilated and removed from it and destroyed and killed off their land and hunted down with guns versus bow and arrows. You know, all the atrocities that's been done to claim America. This place is rooted in bloodshed. It is rooted in crime. Not counting the crimes of all the mobsters that came over here and put up that imagery through the media for us to want to be Beanie Siegel, for us to want to be Scarface, for us to want to be Al Pacino, for us to want to be these so-called Edomite sons of
mafioso,
sons of the Tudors and the damn Borgiers, the descendants of the Borgiers, to bring that type of corruption over here. Now we want to emulate it. We want to be gangsters now. We want to be gangsters, and now we're actually emulating their culture. Now we killing each other. We don't even make no guns. We don't make the Derringer. We don't make the Mossberg. We don't make the AK-47. We don't make the Smith & Wesson. We don't make the Ruger. We don't make the Glock. We don't make the F&N. We don't make none of these weapons, but we have them all. And we killing each other with them and the ammunition. We don't make the brass, the bullets, nor the gunpowder to put in the damn bullet. We have no buying power, no commercial production of those elements, of those killing machines. But yet we have them. Don't you know gun sales are at an all-time high? That's a sign of a crumbling nation. Yeah. When I'm gonna show you that in this right here. Matter of fact, read this right quick. Just read this real quick. Right before Rome was about to fall, was falling. Let me see if I can pull it. Read this right quick. I didn't get the whole picture, so I'm gonna just read this portion. It says, this is when a nation was on its way down in Rome, and because of the paranoia of a potential fall that was coming to Rome, anybody going through the sea was immediately tortured to find out if they were there, or were you of an enemy, or were you part of the Roman society. It says, besides these things, one saw everywhere shields, coats of mail, darts, javelins, and other implements of war being prepared, and in every place also were collections of galleys, naval armor. Nothing was expected anywhere but the attacks of enemies from day to day. Besides this, famine and pestilence were added, of which we shall relate what is most important in its proper place. So what he's showing you is that when Rome was plagued with famines and pestilence, just like you saw all those cows die the other day in Kansas by the thousands, just like you see that there's a heat wave causing major droughts from California to Texas, where all the farmland is being threatened, where water sources are being threatened, On top of that, now there's eclipsed more guns in circulation in America than there are people in America. There are more guns in America sold now in circulation than there are cars in America. It said these were evidences of a collapse. This same mentality of paranoia, let's stock up, this race to stock up, I got to stock up food, I got to stock up weapons. This mentality was alive and well prior to the fall of Rome. That was the mentality. I got to arm myself, I got to prepare myself because I don't know what's coming. That was the mentality. Now you're watching people hoarding up food, buying up toilet paper, buying up canned goods, buying up all types of rations, survival kits, water treatment powder, Berkey water filters, bullets, ammunition, tents, survival gear, outdoor camping equipment, bug out bags,
generators,
fishing equipment, hunting equipment, generators, solar panels, all type of things to survive. Because that was part of the judgment of the Most High against Rome. What do you think is happening now? Same thing. But the Most High is telling us this is when you should be trying to detach from your slave masters. But our people want to keep looking at the people that took us in captivity as gods, as if they have the answers.
And that's the mind of a traitor.
That's a sellout.
God. That's a traitor. That's the mind of a sellout, bro. That's the mind of a person that will sell their own people out. Just like that guy from what was that movie called? 300. He had that guy that was deformed physically, and he couldn't lift his shield, and he was trying to represent his nation, but he was rejected because it was the law of that nation. You can't send a man to war with this broken element of his body. He can't lift his shield, so his job is not to be in the military. He can do something else, but he can't do the military. So what did he do? And his offense nature, and him being offended, he went over to what? The other side. And he lived a life of luxury.
Yeah.
And he exposed.
He went over to the Persians.
He went to the Persians and exposed all the weaknesses of the Spartans, so that the Persians can conquer the Spartans. And he had a life of luxury, and he had every physical pleasure or hedonistic pleasure he could find in exchange for betraying his nation. That's not the mind of our people now. They'll sell their house out, their family out, their children out, themselves out. They'll hold themselves out on an intellectual level, on a spiritual level, on a cultural level. They'll sell anything, do anything, just to have a piece of the pie or a piece of the dream, or to be associated with those that are doing well. That's the mind of a traitor. They won't do for their people.
Yep.
They won't do for the best interest of their nation. It's not about the interest of the nation. It's about their individualistic desire.
Yep.
That's the mind of a traitor. That's the mind of a Judas.
Of a sellout.
That's the mind of a sellout.
And you know that mind is alive and well. What you got, Mo? What you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna ask a question, based off of his point. Are there gonna be traitors then when end times come?
Of course. But that's the nature of our children. On Dawiya's point, go to Psalms chapter 78 real quick. Go to Psalms chapter 78, and I want you to read. Let me get there real quick. Hold where you at in Ezra. We're gonna come back to that.
So that's the same thing as that house slave developing the Stockholm syndrome.
Yep. But these house slaves ain't in the house no more. These house slaves is at the mall. They at the basketball court.
Exactly.
They down the street. They eating a hamburger with you. They might read the Bible with you. It's whoever's willing to exchange their righteousness for the best. I'm exchanging the best interests of my people for carnal benefits of the Greeks.
Yep. And we're gonna prove it. We're gonna read it real quick. Somebody read it real fast. Psalm 78. Start at verse 13 real quick.
Psalms chapter 78 and verse 13.
Read on down.
He divided the sea and caused them to pass through, and he made the waters to stand as an heap. In the daytime also he led them with a cloud.
He says he divided the sea and caused them to pass through. He made waters to stand as a heap. So we know that the children of Israel walked through the Red Sea on dry ground. Read on.
In the daytime, he also led them with a cloud.
We just read that in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, that he made that pillar of fire by day. You know what I'm saying? He led them as a guide, right? To an unknown area, an unknown land. Read on.
And all the night with a light of fire.
Read on. And he said that light of fire was that sun that wouldn't harm them. Read on.
He clave the rocks in the wilderness, and gave them drink as out of the great depths.
Go ahead.
He brought streams also out of the rock, and caused waters to run down like rivers.
Look at what the Most High has done for us in the last 400 years. We came in on slave ships, but we're no longer in slave ships. But where's our mind at? Still wanting to serve who? Still wanting to serve our enemies.
Go. Herod's babies.
Herod's children, his descendants. The Greco-Roman culture. We want their education. We want their lifestyle. We want their goods and services.
Go.
Read on.
And they sinned yet more against him by provoking the Most High in the wilderness.
Look at what the Most High has done for us, and what do we do in return for the Most High? We do what?
And they sinned yet more against him.
It says when the Most High does something good to us as a people, we go harder against him. You can see all the good that the Most High does to us individually, in our households, in our families, with our children, with our wives, even through the pandemic, through 9/11, through 2012 when the earth was supposed to end.
Through emergencies, through cities like flood emergencies,
floods.
emergencies. We had a here in Georgia.
Floods, freezes, being trapped in snow.
It's going crazy.
No electricity.
The whole city was going crazy.
No water. But guess what? The Most High does us a favor by salvaging us and pulling us out of atrocity. And what do we do with the Most High in return? This is the nature and the mind frame of our people. Our people are notorious for returning something harmful or to show ingratitude, being ungrateful for what all the Most High. Look at the harm that has been upon us in the last 400 years in America. And we're still strong. And what do we do with the Most High in return? We go more of the opposite direction. We go more to the damn enemy. We go to pursue a position from the enemy more than we pursue a position with the Father.
Wow.
That's that sellout. That's that sellout mentality. But that's the nature of our people. But he's going to show you why we sell out the Most High. Read on.
Says, and they sinned yet more against him by provoking the Most High in the wilderness.
How? How did they provoke the Most High? Read on.
And they tempted the Most High in their heart by asking meat for their lust.
Because they want more than freedom from their enemy, so that they can serve the Most High without restriction and restraint. They don't want freedom from their enemy, so that they can serve the Most High. They want freedom from their enemy, so they can serve themselves. That's our people. That's why our people still look up to the heathen as gods.
That's the heart of a sellout, race trader.
That's the heart of a sellout. I don't want freedom. I don't want freedom for my nation, so we can be free to serve the Most High. We can detach from these corrupt. What he said in Exodus, he says, "When I came thither and had seen the impieties without number, I don't give a damn about what the white man has done to my people. I still want his luxury. I still want his job. I still want his career path.
His imagery.
I still want his education. I still want his holidays.
Clothing.
I still want his outfits.
Want his woman.
I still want his woman.
Could that relate to when?
And I want his drugs too. Let's not forget about his witchcraft and about his sorcery.
Pharmacopoeia.
Let's not forget about his drugs, because that we want that too.
They're blasted like the white man.
That we want
like them white boys.
Yeah. I want his guns.
Yeah.
I want his bullets. I want his education. I want his food. I want his snails. I want his escargot. I want his pate.
You ain't really ate no food till you had
lobster tails.
You don't know a damn thing.
Butter with some frog legs.
You're not sophisticated.
And some crawfish etouffee. You can't even spell etouffee. Yeah, caviar. Yeah, on pate. Or lightly seared filet mignon. But you know, our people want the culture of the damn heathen. That's what we want.
You want the culture of Satan.
We want the culture of the heathen, the heathen, because his ideal is hedonism. See, this is why we want what the nation has, because their culture is based upon indulgence, satisfaction and pleasure of the flesh. The Most High is about discipline, self-control, being humble, being content on what you possess. There's not a lot of room for the satisfaction of the personal gratification and self-indulgence more than it is about the national satisfaction and the national safety. See, with us serving the so-called white man, we can serve our own individual pleasure and not feel guilty about it. See, but when you serve the Most High, you're going to feel guilty because you're no longer serving yourself, but you're serving the body. And we don't want to do that. We'd rather sell out our nation for a few damn eagle feathers or eagle bells, trinkets, just like the white man gave Gad, the so-called North American Indian, the tribe of Gad, sold him out for some mirrors and some wines, that fire water. They wanted that wine. They wanted that liquor.
Yeah.
There's reports about a particular chief that begged his people not to take that wine because he saw what he was doing. I'll have the book probably next week. He begged his tribe, not to drink the wine from the white man because he saw what he was doing to the men. Became unloosed in their ethics. They became unethical. A lot of them even drowned themselves. And they became so stupid with alcohol, they burned themselves in fire, not knowing it. They became totally incapacitated behind that damn fire water, that damn liquor. But that's what the white man does. That's what we want. And I'll bring that book soon.
Can I post this real quick?
Come.
Leviticus 17:7. It's real quick. It's not going to be a long scripture.
Leviticus chapter 17 and verse 7.
This isn't the law. This isn't the law.
And they...
The Most High gave us a preparation or a shield against this spirit. We didn't want to hear it. Read.
And they shall no more offer their sacrifices unto devils.
I'm not supposed to offer my efforts and energy and spirit and burn myself out for devils. Read.
After whom they have gone a whoring.
I'm ready to exchange every element of what I am.
My culture,
my rib, my family, my sweat, my tears, my blood, all for this one. I'm ready to sacrifice it all in exchange for the feeling of being like them, or the feeling of being associated with them. Read.
This shall be a statute.
This is a law. Read.
Forever.
It's a law forever. Read.
Unto them throughout their generation.
This is a law forever throughout every single generation. And this is how you know our people aren't keeping the law of the Most High like we say we are.
You know, our people are still drunk with wine from the white man. You go to a reservation now, and Gad, well, they ain't got wine, they ain't got liquor. They drink mouthwash. They drink Listerine. And you can talk to any paramedic. They say one of the worst things that you can smell is when alcohol or Listerine is being processed by the liver and expelled out of the body.
My God.
They said it's one of the nastiest protruding smells to come up on a Native American that has drunk Listerine to get that sensation or that feeling, because once the liver processes that Listerine, it creates an odor like an ammonia that's sickening to the paramedics. Wow.
I did a study in 2014 on specifically Native Americans and the problem with alcohol in their culture and their tribes. And it's so bad that
you got to speak up. I want the camera to hear.
Camera to hear, bro.
I did in 2014 I did a study specifically on Native American tribes and the problematics that are occurring with their people when it comes to alcohol and alcohol abuse. And the main thing they saw was that, but also it was a neglect of their own children. And so they found too many orphanages, children orphanages, that were being bombarded by from Native Americans.
So they were the main thing was neglecting their own children. They didn't even had no concept of being parents, being out. But that's our people, because of us serving the nation, we get to self-indulge. But when you serve your nation, you gotta be disciplined, and you gotta give yourself up and dispose yourself for the progress of your people. But we got too many sellouts. Not sellouts because they like snitching on our people. Sellouts in the fact that they'll rather go serve themselves to make sure that themselves are okay than they would to make sure that I put my effort towards my nation, to heal my nation and represent my nation. This is the problem with our people. Read on.
Leviticus?
No, and back in 2nd Ezra.
Hey, Szechuan.
Verse 20.
Does that relate when to Achan when?
No. It does, but not right now. Go ahead.
2nd Ezra, chapter 3 and verse 20. And yet tookest thou not away from them a wicked heart, that thy law might bring forth.
2nd Ezra 2. You're in.
It was in 3 and 29.
3 and 29. Yeah, I want you to read 29.
Okay. Verse 29. For when I came thither and had seen impieties without number, then my soul saw many evildoers in this 30th year.
Go ahead.
So that my heart failed me. For I have seen how thou sufferest them sinning.
He said, man, you suffer the nations from sin. It's almost like the Most High let the nation sin and get away with it. And this is why we won't stop trying to be like them. Because it's almost like they have the unfair advantage. Are they more righteous than us? No, it's not that they're more righteous than us. It's just that the Most High hasn't brought down the calamity on them yet. But in the meantime, until that happens, our objective is going to try to be like them so that we can adopt their culture, which the science and the philosophy behind their culture is hedonism. It's all about self-indulgence. That's the reason why I want to not disconnect from the nations. Because I no longer, by serving the nations or serving the Most High, am allowed to just be about me and my self-preservation. See, that's the benefits of serving the nation. You can only have to preserve yourself and think about yourself and care about yourself. But when you serve the Most High, you can't just be about, you have to be selfless versus selfish. And that's problematic to a lot of Israelites. Is that when I got to make sure that the greater good of the population of my people is sufficient and well maintained. That causes people problems. You don't want to serve the Most High because you want to serve you. Because you want to serve your lust. But that's the nature of our people. That mind frame, hold that and go back to where we was at real quick. I want to finish that in Psalm 78. Go back to the, finish that in verse 18.
Psalms chapter 78 and verse 18. And they tempted the Most High in their heart by asking meat for their lust.
Because they only want something to satisfy their what?
Their lust.
That's all they care about, man. That's why our people don't want to detach from this nation. Because this nation feeds our lust. Because it's built upon indulgence. Because I can't wear the name brands anymore. I'm not looked at as having status because I don't work over here, or I don't do what the nations do. I don't behave like the nations behave, and I don't indulge in their culture. We're like homeborn slaves, man. Read on.
It says, yeah, they spake against the Most High.
How do we speak against the Most High?
They said, can the Most High furnish a table in the wilderness?
Who's going to take care of me when things get rough? How am I going to feed myself? These are the excuses that our people use why they should serve their enemy. Because their enemy can provide for them. How is the Most High going to provide for me and my family? That's just an excuse. That's a BS excuse from our people just to serve the nations. Because really you just worried about yourself. You ain't worried about your nation. You ain't worried about your family. You ain't worried about your culture. You ain't worried about these laws and these commandments. You don't care about righteousness. Neither do you care about justice. You care about self-preservation. And that's what angers the Most High. Read on.
Behold, he smote the rock that the waters gushed out, and the streams overflowed. Can he give bread also?
I just watched the Most High perform miracles. I just watched the Most High help me make it through COVID when everything was shut down and the shelves was empty, but I survived. And I caught COVID and I survived. And may the Most High bless those that didn't. But I watched the Most High still sustain us after 400 years of atrocities. And I still doubt the Most High. Read on.
I'm still not satisfied.
Still not satisfied. Read on.
Can he provide flesh for his people?
What kind of dumb question is that? You doubt serving the Most High because you think the Most High won't take care of you. Who do you think been taking care of us as a people the whole time? Because it's really that's an excuse. That's what pissed the Most High. He knows it's BS. He knows it's an excuse just to serve yourself. I gotta go get a job. I gotta make sure I got work. You know, do the 9 to 5 thing. I gotta make sure. Hey, what about your people? What about your nation? What about your heritage? Read on.
It says, therefore the Lord heard this, and was wroth. So a fire was kindled against Jacob, and anger also came up against Israel.
Go ahead.
Because they believed not in the Most High.
Because they what?
They believe not. But they will say, "Oh, have mercy on me, Herod."
Shit, we have mercy on Herod.
God, we're very crooked, huh?
We're crooked, bro. We'll serve whoever's in power. Read on.
Because they believed not in the Most High, and trusted not in His salvation.
Wow. And trusted not. I trust whatever plan the particular politician, whatever narrative is the current trend, whatever technology comes out,
or whatever economist or whatever Dr. Fauci says, because he's an expert.
He's an expert. He knows.
I'll trust all these things. Then just trust the Most High. Read on.
Though He had commanded the clouds from above.
It says, though He commanded the clouds from above. Read on.
And opened the doors of heaven.
And the Most High opened the doors of heaven to us. Individually, all of us have a testimony of how the Most High opened the doors. I know we do.
That's true.
We all have a testimony that we can share, that can disclose how the Most High took care of us when things didn't look like we were going to make it. When the situation was extreme and the odds were against us. And the Most High sustained us. We all got a testimony like that. Read on.
And had rained down manna upon them to eat.
Read on.
And had given them of the corn of heaven.
Go ahead.
Man did eat angels' food.
Read on.
He sent them meat to the full.
Go ahead.
He caused an east wind to blow in the heaven.
Go ahead.
And by His power He brought in the south wind. He rained flesh also upon them as dust.
And the Most High keep feeding you. You got what you want. Read on.
And feathered fowls like as the sand of the sea.
Read on.
And He let it fall in the midst of their camp.
Go ahead.
Round about their habitations.
Read on.
So they did eat, and were well filled.
Because you know what? Because the Most High give you His corn, the Most High giving you His manna, the Most High give you angelic food, it's just not good enough for you. The Most High blessing you and doing it, blessing you His way, is not good enough for you. The Most High giving you His lifestyle, is not good enough for you. You want what everybody else got. Everybody can get a pheasant.
Yep.
Any nation can get a pheasant. All you gotta do is hunt one. Anybody can get a table in the wilderness. It's not hard to build a table. But the Most High bringing a chariot, Most High making a sun for you, a pillar by day, and protection. That's just not good enough.
Sad.
That's how sad we are.
That's our people though. Read on. That's why we won't disconnect from the enemy. Read on.
So they did eat, and were well filled.
Go ahead.
For He gave them their own desire.
And He gave them what?
Their own desire.
He said, go ahead.
They were not estranged from their lust.
He says He gave them their own desire, and they still wouldn't withdraw from their what?
Their own lust.
The Most High gave you a rib. He gave you a kid. He gave you children. He gave you a house. He gave you cars. He gave you money. He gave you food. And you still won't detach from what?
Their lust.
Because who is the author of that lust? Anybody.
Ourselves.
The devil, man. The nations. The nations that Herod's children, the Idumeans, they're the forerunners and the ringleaders of your lust. And because we can go to it's easier to go to our enemies than it is to go to the Most High. He said, I gave you everything you needed to survive, but you'll still have more trust in a damn nation that is preparing themselves for doom, that is prepping for doom. Read on.
Verse 32. Slack it. Verse 31. The wrath of the Most High came upon them, and slew the fattest of them.
Stop. It says slew the fattest of them. Go ahead.
And smote down the chosen men of Israel.
Now, because we don't want to put our trust in the Most High, that's why the Most High got to punish us. But go back and finish where we was at in 2nd Ezra chapter 3 and find out why Ezra can't sleep. Pick up in 30, 3 and 30. 2nd Ezra chapter 3 verse 30.
2nd Ezra chapter 3 and verse 30. For I have seen how thou sufferest them sinning, and hast spared wicked doers.
He said, I'll watch you let it look like the white man got away with murder for 400 years of free slave labor.
Yeah, he got exonerated.
He got pardoned from all of his sins. Nobody has brought war crimes up on America. Nobody has brought America to trial for the atrocities done in America and the homeland. Nobody. No country has said, okay, we got to bring them up on war crimes. Nobody did it. Nobody has forced them to pay out of pocket. Nobody has sanctioned America because of what they did to us as a people. Nobody. No nation. Read on.
And has destroyed thy people, and has preserved thine enemies.
He said, but damn, I watch you sustain these people, and they destroyed us for 400 years. And nothing's happened to them. They're still in power. Read on.
And has not signified it. I do not remember how this way may be left.
He said, I don't understand this, man. I don't understand how we got to this point. He's talking about his depression that he's dealing with from watching Israel suffer in Babylon. But we know America is the modern day what? Babylon. Read on.
Are they then of Babylon better than they of Sion?
Man, you almost think that the damn Edomites are better than Israel. He's thinking like, damn, these slave masters, do they have more integrity than we do? Are they better people than us? Are they of a higher social caliber than us? Or do they have more morals than us? Are they morally more proper than us? Are we morally more corrupt? You would almost think the Most High is unfair, because it looks like the nations has gotten away with murder and genocide of a variety of indigenous peoples and slavery. He said, man, I think this is almost unfair. Read on.
Or is there any other people that knoweth thee beside Israel?
Go ahead.
Or what generation hath so believed thy covenants as Jacob?
He said, but what's causing this confliction of mind? What's causing Ezra this confliction? Read on.
And yet their reward appeareth not.
It says, and yet their reward what?
Appeareth not.
It doesn't look like they have to suffer for what they've done to us. But here it is in 2022, and you watching every major calamity come upon America, and our people are still asleep. I can understand what Ezra is saying, because he's saying, man, I ain't seen no signs of them slowing down. I've only seen signs of them increasing. But here we seeing signs of what? Man, we're watching signs of decrease. But our people still want to serve themselves. I could get where Ezra is coming from, but I can't get where modern day Israel coming from. The ones that don't believe in the Most High. That's still trying to partner and buddy up and live the dream. I don't get that. Because you're watching a decline. And we're still chasing the American dream.
Yeah. Right.
That's what doesn't make any sense. You still won't come together for your people. Because you choose your lust. That's why you won't come together for your people, with your people. And put it on the line and sacrifice for your people. Because you can't feed your flesh anymore. Because it's about the greater good. You don't care about your people. Read on.
And their labor hath no fruit.
He said, man, all our work ain't got no fruit. Read on.
For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and I see that they flow in wealth.
He said, man, I'm tripping. Ezra is tripping, because he said, I've gone through and through, and I'm watching the heathen. He said, I'm watching the heathen, but the heathen is flowing in what?
In wealth.
He said, man, the heathen's flowing in wealth. So a normal person would think the Most High is unfair. The heathen is guilty of all kind of crimes, and no charge has been brought upon him, but he still got all the power. He still got all the control. This is why Ezra is tripping. Read on.
And think not upon thy commandments.
It says they float in wealth and they don't care about your commandments. To a modern day Negro, Hispanic, or Native American, this can cause also a confliction of mind. And if you don't get understanding about why this is, and that this is only a temporary position, then you also will, by envy of the devil, fall in the pursuit of the American dream in the midst of a collapse. That's like getting on a sinking ship. Why the hell would you get on a sinking ship? But that's our people.
Titanic, they played the tanks as the ship sunk out. They kept playing out. That's what this place is doing.
Yeah.
They're still jamming.
They gonna jam to the end.
Now
Yeah.
they'll be recording till they death.
Yeah.
They still build. They still do construction. Countries collapsing. We're building another stadium.
Still taking selfies.
That's how dumb our people are. Huh?
Right.
That's what he's now. Let this go, because I want to show that mentality. Finish Psalm 73. Whoever had Psalm 73. And give me Psalm 73 and finish at verse 13. Start at verse 13.
Psalms chapter.
Oh, no, start at verse 12.
Psalms chapter 73 and verse 12. Behold, these are the ungodly, who prosper in the world. They increase in riches.
And David said, I almost fell. I almost slipped by being envious of the nations. Because they control the wealth. And they haven't been paid back for their crimes. And it looks like they get away with everything. We have to pay the price for everything. And they don't follow the commandments of the Most High. Like the Egyptians said, who is the Most High? We don't know him. We don't know the Most High. Who is that? We don't know that Lord. Who is that Lord? Who is your Lord? Read on.
Verily, I have cleansed my heart in vain.
So a lot of our people are losing hope and losing faith in the Most High. A lot of strong brothers. This is what's crazy about it. A lot of strong brothers are quitting and losing hope in the Most High because they felt like I'm in this truth and I'm doing this in vain. And the Most High is not going to take care of me. This is where that sellout mentality comes from. It's that doubt that the Most High will sustain me. That's what's keeping some strong brothers detached from the Most High. There's still a remnant of doubt involved that the Most High is not going to take care of me. So I still got to take care of myself. Can the Most High furnish a table in the wilderness? Read on.
Says, verily, I have cleansed my heart in vain, and washed my hands in innocency.
Read on.
For all the day long have I been plagued, and chastened every morning.
I serve the Most High and my life is hard. They don't serve the Most High and their life is easy. So what should I pursue? The nations? A career with the nations? Read on.
If I say, I will speak thus, behold, I should offend against the generation of thy children.
He said, if I keep going about how I think the Most High is unfair, he said, I got to think about the future generation because I might distort their belief. Yeah. He says, so I'm going to cut it right here. I'm not going to keep speaking on about my personal gripe that I got and my doubt. He had to restrain himself.
Unlike Israel.
Yeah.
We won't restrain them. Like, I'm going too far.
No.
This thought, I'll let this thought carry on the next day, the next week, the next month. Then it becomes a whole new damn heresy in the camp.
God. But that's our people. Read on.
Says, when I thought to know this, it was too painful for me, until I went into the sanctuary of the Most High.
He said, I had to get some understanding. Read on.
Then understood I their end. Surely thou didst set them in slippery places.
He says, the Most High set up the nations in the what?
Slippery places.
Go ahead.
Thou castedst them down into destruction? How are they brought into desolation? As in a moment. They are utterly consumed with terrors, as a dream when one awaketh. So, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their image. Thus my heart was grieved, and I was pricked in my reins. So foolish was I and ignorant.
He says, so foolish is when I was ignorant that what? Read on.
I was as a beast before thee. Nevertheless, I am continual with thee. Thou hast holden me by my right hand. Thou shalt guide me with thy counsel.
He says, thou shalt guide me with what?
With thy counsel.
And you know what? A lot of people forsake riches and stability economically versus the counsel of the Most High. But if you go to Ecclesiastes 40 and 25, it says what?
40 and 25.
God.
Ecclesiastes 40 and 25. Gold and silver make the foot stand sure.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of security. Gold and silver makes you feel like, okay, I'm stable. It gives you the idea that you're stable. Read on.
But counsel is esteemed above them both.
But a lot of brothers and sisters will forsake counsel from the Most High for economic stability. And for this reason they'll serve the devil. And for this reason they'll quit being about their nation's security and be about self-sustaining security. Self-reliance. Because I'll forfeit what the Most High can give me just for the sake of the appearance that gold and silver is going to hold me up. Well, guess what? The dollar really ain't about to be worth nothing. The dollar is already crashing. Don't you know that even the Bitcoin, the crypto dollar, the internet dollar is already dropped 5 more percent and down to 20. Just a couple months ago, it was at $60,000 for one Bitcoin. It's at $20,000 for a Bitcoin. You think inflation means that there's more money in circulation than what the money is worth, and it's not backed by anything. But I'll put more faith into what the devil has to give me than what the Most High can offer me. You know what the Most High can offer you? He can offer you counsel that money can't buy. He can offer you counsel that you can't get with no money. You can't get from anybody else. Matter of fact, read that one more time.
Ecclesiastes 40 and 25. Gold and silver make the foot stand sure.
Because you know what? I can see the money. And I know what I can do with the money. And I can immediately preserve my situation with the money. And so I can execute my desire quickly with the money. I don't have to wait on the Most High when I got money. I make the Most High void when I got money. I don't have to have faith when I got money. I don't have to have patience when I got money. I can execute my will when I got money. Money gives me that liberty. But what you don't get is counsel. There's an exchange. There's a trade-off.
That's good stuff.
There is a trade-off. Hold that and go to chapter 20, verse 32.
Ecclesiastes 20 and verse 32.
Read that.
Necessary patience in seeking the Lord.
It says sometimes when you seek the Most High, you need what?
Patience. Necessary patience.
You need patience. You don't always have an answer right away. You don't always get what you want right away. You don't always seem to be able to preserve yourself right away. He said when you serve the Most High, one ingredient you need is patience. But because a lot of us don't have any patience, we want to buy our way out of trouble. How you going to buy your way out of trouble with a dollar that's not worth anything?
Stupidity.
That's why I said necessary patience. Go ahead.
In seeking the Lord is better than he that leadeth his life without a guide.
Now you forfeited the guide of the Most High, the counsel that comes from the Most High, because you wanted riches, because you didn't want to wait on the Lord, because you didn't have no patience, because you didn't have no faith, because you didn't know how you was going to be taken care of. So you forfeited the number one counselor that can provide you the wisdom on what to do in a bad situation to sustain yourself with the idea that you're going to be taken care of something that's not even valuable. That's why he said this in 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, read verse 75. And then go back to where you're at in Psalm 73.
2nd Ezra 16 and verse 75. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt.
It says, be ye not what?
Be ye not afraid.
But fear of stability is what makes our people sell out. They sell out the Most High and they sell out our nation. It's fear and it's doubt. But I just know that if I got that money though, I'll be all right. I can see I can see stability.
I'm be all right.
But you know what you don't have? You don't know what to do with it. You don't got no counsel because you forfeited your counselors. Read on.
Be ye not afraid, neither doubt.
Go ahead.
For God is your God.
Yeah, wait a minute. Read that one more time.
Be ye not afraid, neither doubt. For God is your God.
Who's your guide?
The Most High.
The Most High is your guide. So why would you sell out the Most High for some phony riches?
Dead presidents.
Right. Paper. Paper currency. That's not worth anything. But that's it. This is what our people do because they're afraid. Because they don't trust the Most High as their leader. But they'll trust the imagery of the nations, of the leaders of the nations. They'll trust the counselors of the other nations. He said, but the Most High is your guide. Read on.
And the God of them who keep my commandments.
He says, and I am the God of them that what?
Keep my commandments and precepts.
Read on.
Saith the Lord your power.
Go ahead.
Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves.
He said, listen, don't let your sins weigh you down. Don't get overwhelmed by guilt. Don't be overthrown by guilt and what you've done in the past to weigh you down. And he says, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. Meaning, and don't let, because you may have gotten away with it and the Most High showed you mercy, don't look at it like you're scot-free.
Permission.
Now you have a license to do you. So he said, listen, you better operate with the mentality that the Most High let go of my iniquities, but at the same time, I better not brag about it either. I better not act like the Most High is going to let me keep sliding. And he's not going to check me for what I'm doing. Now finish that and go back to Psalm 73 verse 26.
Psalms chapter 73.
24.
24. Psalms chapter 73 and verse 24. Thou shalt guide me with thy counsel.
And that's why David said, forget the money. I was envious of the wicked.
Yeah.
Because they had the riches. They had the wealth.
That's the source of it.
They were the source. He said, but I was foolish. He said, you know what's more valuable to me? Is that the Most High guides me with his what?
With thy counsel.
With his counsel. He said, I'd rather have the Most High's counsel than I would the damn riches of the damn wicked. And the riches of the nations. Give me your counsel over economic stability. Because their economic stability is a setup. Read on.
And afterward receive me to glory.
It said, and then receive me to glory. Read on.
Whom have I in heaven but thee?
He said, I don't got nobody but you. Read on.
And there is not upon earth that I desire beside thee.
It ain't nothing more I desire on earth besides thee. But we want our slave masters. We want the lifestyle of our slave masters. We want the liberty of our slave masters. We want the freedoms of our slave masters. We want the diet of our slave masters. We want the food. We want the wealth. We want the dress code. We want everything our slave masters got. But David said, I denounce all that. And for anybody that has that mentality, these are the individuals that we're supposed to be reproving. We're supposed to be reproving the pursuit of that mentality. You're supposed to be checking brothers that got the pursuit of that mentality. And you're supposed to be checking the nations for having that mentality. How do we know this? Go to Wisdom of Solomon. Go back to chapter 2 and pick up on let me see. Hold up. Go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, and I want you to pick up on verse 9.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, verse 9. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness.
That's the nations, man. The nations are about indulging without no restraints, without limitations. They will keep feeding themselves to the full. That's the mind frame of the nations. Our people want the lifestyles of the rich and famous. We want it, man. That was the worst thing we could do, is put that damn Robin Leach TV show out. Lifestyles of the rich and famous. Then we wanted MTV Cribs.
Yeah.
That was the worst thing you could do to our people. Because that kept them perpetually chasing a dream. Chasing pleasure. If I could do it, you could do it.
Music videos alone.
Yeah. But you know what? Every single music video is endorsed by some brand. Some brand is behind that video. But anyway, go ahead.
Come.
Verse 9.
Let none of us go without his part of voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place.
Read on.
For this is our portion, and our lot is this.
Now, this is what we got to understand. The Most High did give the nations a time to live out their fullness and live out their pleasure. That is the portion that the devil himself, Satan himself, has gifted the nations. Power, rulership, and authority on earth, with the wealth and the luxury items that go with it. The Louis Vuitton, the Moet Hennessy, that whole conglomerate, the Most High is backing all that. Not the Most High. The Most High allows Satan to dispense that to certain nations.
Allocate that to the nations.
Right.
Because it's their
Don Perignon, we want everything the nations got. Louis the 13th, we want to sip whatever they sipping on. $200 a shot, we want to drink what they drink. But you know what? They're right. The nations are correct. The Most High has given them their lot or their position or portion of time to have the wealth accumulated in society.
I'll pause real quick. Just on a short side note. Luke 21:24, just a side note. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. This is Christ speaking. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down by the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Yep. And so their wealth is only for a certain period of time. That's just part of the Most High's equity. The Most High is fair with everybody. The Most High let the Egyptians rule the world for a time. He let the Assyrians rule the world for a time. He let the Babylonians rule the world for a time. He let the Persian Mede Empire rule the world for a time. He let the Greeks rule the world for a time. He let the Romans rule the world for a time. He let the damn English, the British rule the world for a time. The Spanish rule the world for a time. The Most High is fair. He's given every nation a little bit of time. But that's not for us to be envious of. They're just in their kingdom. They're just in their heaven. They should be praising the Most High. They should be thankful about their position that the Most High has given them. Because that's the lot that they've received. Just like it says in Rome. I'm glad you brought that up. Go to Romans chapter 11 real quick. Hold where you at. Somebody else get Romans chapter 11 verse 12.
Romans chapter 11 and verse 12.
And speed it up a little bit. Let's get somebody else get Daniel chapter 2.
Now if the fall of them be the riches of the...
Daniel chapter 4.
Now if the fall of them be the riches of the world.
Verse 28. Go ahead. Read on.
And diminish...
It says, but the fall of Israel is the what?
Be the riches of the world.
Okay, so yes, it's true. Every nation, because when we fall away from the Most High, they get rich. Our downfall means their increase. Their wealth is made and given by our demise.
Our heart attacks, our diseases, our sickness is their pharmaceutical industry.
Yep.
Our need for desired cloth and our need to cover our nakedness is their textile and their fashion industry.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Read on. It said the fall of them be the what?
The riches of the world.
Go ahead.
The diminishing of them, the riches of the Gentiles.
And when we're diminished, they get better. They get wealthier. You're not supposed to envy the Gentiles or the nations because they're on top. They're just given that time temporarily to be on top because we're out of order with the Most High. But it's not going to be like that forever. That's why you're a fool in the eyes of the Most High if you serve the Gentiles, which are in their power only for a short period of time, and not serve the Most High, because the roles eventually will reverse. But you'll have shown yourself to be a sellout when they do reverse.
Come.
Read on.
It says, how much more their fullness?
It said, how much more when we get back in power, then what's going to happen to the Gentiles? They're going to go back to be on the bottom. And guess who's going to be on the bottom with them? You will, because that's who you wanted to serve. That's who you wanted to follow. See, the Most High give every nation, that's part of his equity and fairness. He give every nation a time to rule. They just not supposed to get big-headed. Go to Daniel chapter 4, verse 28. Read this. Read it fast.
Come. Daniel chapter 4 and verse 28 reads, all this came upon King Nebuchadnezzar. At the end of 12 months, he walked in the palace of the kingdom of Babylon.
Go ahead.
The king spake and said, is not this great Babylon that I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might of my power?
Didn't Ezra say that Babylon, he said, I'm watching the riches of Babylon? And he said their atrocities, he said their evil is without number? Or he said he said in verse 3, he said their
Crimes?
yeah, their crimes are without number, something like that. He said their crimes are without number. He said, man, it's infinite. Go ahead.
Their impieties.
Impieties, there you go. Their impieties is without number. Read on.
That I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might
of my hand, right? He said, look at what I built. He walking on the porch. The king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, walked out on his porch and said, look at what I built. Look at what I built by my hand. Read on.
By the might of my power and for the honor of my majesty.
Read on.
While the word was in the king's mouth.
Read it clear. He said, while the word was in his mouth, while he was bragging about what he built. Read on.
He was making his oration.
He was making his speech. Read on.
While the word was in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven, saying, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to thee it is spoken. The kingdom is departed from thee.
He said, just for you bragging about what you did, and this is a Gentile nation, a Babylonian nation, just for you bragging about what you've accumulated in this world, and you think it was by your design that you've been given this power, you've only been given this power because my people Israel became disobedient. He said the fall of them, of Israel, became the riches of the Gentiles. They only got out of order, and they don't deserve the power, rulership, and authority. So I'm giving it to you temporarily. Don't get beside yourself. Don't blow your own head up. But our people will envy a man that's only been temporarily given power.
Stupid.
Read on.
And they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field.
Read on.
They shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and 7 times shall pass over thee.
You know what 7 represent? Number of completion. He said, I'm going to break you down. I'm going to break your pride. That's what the Most High told Nebuchadnezzar. I'm going to completely break your pride. Read on.
Until thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men.
He said, until you come to the understanding that it's not your hand that has gotten you this wealth, that has gotten you this power. It was by me giving you this power temporarily until my people get their head out their butt and off their lust. Read on.
And giveth it to whomsoever he will.
Go ahead.
The same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar.
He said the same hour the Most High struck him. Read on.
And he was driven from men, and did eat grass as oxen. And his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like bird's claws.
He was transforming out.
Yep.
He became a physical genetic anomaly.
Yep. Turned him into a damn sloth.
It's unbelievable. Right?
Go ahead.
And at the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted up mine eye unto heaven.
Go ahead.
And my understanding returned unto me.
Oh, you get it now.
Now you got some understanding. Read on.
And I blessed the Most High.
Oh, you did what?
Blessed the Most High.
Go ahead.
And I praised and honored him that liveth forever, whose dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom is from generation to generation. And all the inhabitants of the earth are reputed as nothing.
Go ahead.
And he doeth according to his will in the army of heaven, and among the inhabitants of the earth. And none can stay his hand, or say unto him, What doest thou?
Nobody can tell the Most High what you're doing. What are you doing? Read on.
At the same time, my reason returned unto me, and for the glory of my kingdom, my honor and brightness returned unto me, and my counselors, and my
what?
And my counselors.
His honor and his brightness and his counselors. Most High returned some clarity because he humbled himself.
Yep. Read on.
And my counselors and my Lord sought unto me, and I was established in my kingdom. And excellent majesty was added unto me. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and honor the King of heaven.
Now keep in mind, the Babylonians worshipped over 365 gods. They had a god for every day of the week. They had more temples than anything in Babylon. So this man became a believer. But you know what? This is what the Most High got to break the nations and humble them. Somebody has to break the nation's pride. Our people are so caught up trying to live like the nations through envy of the devil, but we're supposed to be reproving the damn nations.
Have mercy on me.
Now I'll finish that in the last scripture. We're going to finish this and we're going to end the class. Go back to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 verse 9. Read on down.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 and verse 9. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness.
Read.
Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place.
Read on.
For this is our portion, and our lot is this.
Yeah, because you know what? All the nations know that they have been given a portion of rulership. And that's not for us to envy. Read on.
Let us oppress the poor righteous man.
But but the problem is our people start acting like the nations, because the nations, when they get in power, they oppress who?
The poor.
They oppress the poor. We're not supposed. We duplicate the actions of the nations in every single way. We want the clothing, we want the lifestyle, and because they shoot niggas down, we want to shoot them too. We want to duplicate what they do. We want their drugs, so we sell their drugs. We want their guns, so we sell their guns. We want their education, so we pursue their schools. We're not supposed to be engulfed in the society of the nations. We're supposed to be checking them. Read on.
Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age.
That's why if the old can't pay their taxes, they still got to find some low-income housing. But you know what? They've had that house for 3 generations, but they can't pay those taxes. They're on a fixed income, but they better go to some low-income housing community and live next to some people they don't even know. But they've been on the block. They've seen they've raised all the children on the block.
Yep.
But now they got to live in some housing community with other old widows because they can't afford their taxes. Read on.
Let us oppress. Let our strength be the law of justice.
He said, let our strength be the law of justice. Read on.
For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth.
We don't care about that which is feeble. We do what we want to do. We execute our will. We make the laws. Read on.
Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn.
And when the wicked are in rulership, guess who they come down on? The righteous. So as this nation starts to dwindle down in power, guess who they're going to blame it on? Guess who they're going to be callous to? Guess who they're not going to care about? And guess who they're going to say, you got to fend for yourself? The same people you wanted to be like. The same people that you purchased and you became the #1 consumer for these nations.
Can I say at one point?
God.
The World Economic Forum had a meeting, and they talked about American citizens, and after they mentioned American citizens, they said African Americans and Hispanics. So we're in a different category than American citizens.
Right.
When it comes to their social policies and their economic policies.
That was a real slick speech.
That's
right there.
detail.
That's detail. You got to.
They're saying yes, da 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 da. This economy, da da da, for American citizens. And they're saying, and African Americans and Hispanics. Why are we singled out from the citizenship?
You know what? Same reason why during Katrina, when blacks, Asians, and whites were bused to the Superdome to evacuate from the flood, another bus came. This reports I got from people that was in the Superdome. Another bus came, picked up the white people and the Asians, and when the black people came out the Superdome to get on the bus, they said, no, you're not going, and the National Guard drew guns on them. This is straight from people that was on site living in that time, that lost their home in the flood, trying to survive in the Superdome, which was a madhouse. When these other people, these Asians and white people, was bust out of the Superdome, the blacks was left in the Superdome to fend for themselves. And that's why they categorize us like that. Because when things get bad, you have to find your own way. But you've been the #1 endorser. You've been wearing their shoes. You've been wearing their clothes. You got all the bags. You got the latest fashion. You got the biggest TVs. You got everything that they sold you. But when push come to shove, they're not going to regard us. You got to find. That's what, like the Egyptians told the children of Israel, this is your fault. You figure it out. Man, but I got the Jordans. Give a care about
I'm
that.
a manager.
I'm a manager. I served this country in the military. I'm retired. I'm a veteran.
I'm a member.
Find your own. Figure it out.
I have education.
Figure it out. I got degrees. Figure it out. Read on.
Says, and he is clean contrary to our doings.
It said, but the children of Israel, they're contrary to our doings. That's why they don't see us the same. They don't see us as Americans, especially the believers in Christ. Read on.
He upbraideth us with our offending the law.
And they said he has a problem. That's why brothers on the corner all the time. That's why the Israelites be going hard on the corners in every city, making these people feel guilty for what they've done in America, showing America their sins on every corner in America. Because somebody got to do it. Somebody got to show this place that they've been voluptuous and they've been indulgent and they had a hedonistic mentality and they have a hedonistic Greco-Roman culture. And this was all about your self-indulgence and self-satisfaction and self-preservation. It has nothing to do with morality. This place is not a moral place. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Read on.
And objecteth to our infamy the transgressings of our education.
And they don't like our education because we teach that anybody can be anybody you want to be. And you could transgender, you could change your gender. And that's okay. And you should be loved. And there's nothing wrong with it. Because that's our education. They have a problem with our education. That's why we're not looked at as citizens. Especially the believers. And the believers is who they're going to come down harder on. Read on.
He professeth.
Yep. Keep reading.
He professeth to have the knowledge of the Most High. And he calleth himself the child of the Lord.
Oh yeah, you call yourself the children of God, the so-called children of Israel? Okay, then what? We're gonna put that to the test. Read on.
He was made to reprove our thoughts.
But this is what the nations know. The nations know that the children of Israel, the real children of Israel, was made to profess or to reprove what?
Our thoughts.
So who's supposed to be teaching these nations that they're guilty?
Israel.
That they're breaking the commandments of the Most High.
Yes.
But our people, the children of Israel, who was created to reprove the nations of their wickedness and of their education and of their voluptuous lifestyle, is trying to get a piece of their lifestyle.
It kills the check. It's hard to chastise the nations when you want to be like the nations.
When you want to be like the
You
nations.
really chastising yourself. You look in the mirror.
You look like a hypocrite.
God.
You're an Israelite in Fendi. You're an Israelite in Prada and Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana. Fendi, Dior. You're like a hypocrite, man. But especially if you know You're supposed to be denouncing everything attached to their culture. You're supposed to be reproving their education, their treatment of the aged, the old, the elderly, their treatment of the young, their redlining, their high taxes. You're supposed to be preaching against everything that they're doing to our people. The jail, the extended prison sentences for our people. Every aspect of how they treat our people, you're supposed to be an advocate against it. But our people, because we want to indulge on the low, we want what they have, and that's what's keeping us blinded. That's what's keeping us from living out our true potential. They know what we're here for. We just don't know what we're here for. We're here to reprove their thoughts, but we don't want to play that role because we want to indulge. Read on.
He is grievous unto us, even to behold.
It said, you know what? They don't even want to look at you. They don't want you in their neighborhoods. Even if you got their car and wear their clothes,
They don't care about
they don't want you in their neighborhoods.
They'll definitely say that.
They don't
They'll
want
let you know.
you could have their fashion, their clothes, their lifestyle, their credit. You could play golf with them. They don't want you there.
The cop will still kick down the door, point the gun at your face, and say, "You need to get out of this house.
Yeah,
This is my house."
What about the professor that got called the police on because they said he was breaking in his own house? He was a Harvard professor. And he got arrested for breaking in his own house because he didn't belong in that neighborhood. He said he is grievous unto us. Read on.
Even to behold. For his life is not like other men's. His ways are of another fashion. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits.
You're supposed to be telling the nations that they're what?
Counterfeit.
They're counterfeit. They're not the real Jews. And they're not the children of the Most High. This is what we're supposed to be doing as Israelites. Not trying to get a piece of the pie like George Jefferson.
He's moving on down.
Yeah. We're not trying to climb and get a piece of this pie. This ship is sinking. It's not meant to get a slice of it. But our people don't understand this role. But we'll leave it at that. He said he'll esteem us as counterfeits. Finish that verse.
He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness.
He said he looks at us as filthiness. That's how you got to look at the Greco-Roman culture. The damn skin-tight women pants. The low-rise jeans that men got on showing they crack. You gotta look at their culture that way, as filthy. Read on.
He pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh his boast that the Most High is his Father.
And not the damn Herod, because he wears a shiny suit. And we look at Herod that wears, the devil wears Prada, right? That's what they say.
We'll praise Herod.
We'll praise Herod because he got a silky shiny suit on. But we won't, as a zoot suit, but we won't praise the Most High as our Father. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So as this nation begins to crumble, hopefully you got this understanding that you're supposed to be detaching from it, and you're supposed to be preaching against it, and that's the prayer that we're going to send up now. All right. Let's go ahead and Majin will pun walk down. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 36, verse 36 chapter. Yahweh Shem Yahushai.
Yahweh Shem Yahushai.
Shema Lanawa.
Shema Lanawa.
Aita.
Aita.
Have mercy upon us.
Have mercy upon us.
O Lord, power of all.
O Lord, power of all.
And behold us.
And behold us.
And send thy fear.
And send thy fear.
Upon all the nations.
Upon all the nations.
That seek not after thee.
That seek not after thee.
Lift up thy hand.
Lift up thy hand.
Against the strange nations.
Against the strange nations.
And let them see thy power.
And let them see thy power.
As thou wast sanctified in us before them.
As thou wast sanctified in us before them.
So be thou magnified among them before us.
So be thou magnified in them before us.
And let them know thee.
And let them know thee.
As we have known thee.
As we have known thee.
that there is no power, but only Yahweh. But only thou, O Yahweh, show new signs, and make other strange wonders. Glorify thy hand, and thy right arm, that they may set forth thy wondrous works. Raise up indignation. Raise up indignation. And pour out wrath. Take away the adversary. And destroy the enemy. Make the time short. Remember the covenant. And let them declare thy wonderful works. Let him that escapeth be consumed by the rage of the fire. Let them perish that oppress the people. Smite and sunder the heads of the rulers. The heads of the rulers. The heathen that say there is none other but we. Gather all the tribes of Yaquab together. And inherit thou them as from the beginning. O Yahweh, have mercy upon the people that is called by thy name, and upon Yasharallah, whom thou hast named thy firstborn. Oh, be merciful unto Yerushalayim, thy holy city, the place of thy rest. Fill Zion with thine unspeakable oracles, and thy people with thy glory. Give testimony unto those that thou hast possessed from the beginning, and raise up prophets, and raise up prophets, and raise up prophets that have been in thy name. Reward them that wait for thee, and let thy prophets be found faithful. Ba'ashem Yahushua. Four corners.
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Wakanawa, Washala, support. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Wakanawa, Washala, support. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Wakanawa, Washala, support. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Wakanawa, support.
Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, the one of Yahweh, the one of Yahushai, all power, all mercy, all might, all wisdom, all knowledge, all understanding, all power is from Yahweh. All power is from Yahweh. All power is from Yahweh. In Yahushai's name we pray. The water, the Miyad, Aman. Men circle up. Sisters, have a seat. Go ahead, Dawiyat.
Salute you out in the heavenly order. Yahweh, where Yahushai, Woke Yasha'al, men of Israel. Mud, Rock. Top, turn our face to sisters. Saluting out the daughters of Zion, men of Israel. Mud, Rock.
Yajimachal, dismissed. Fall out. All right, Shalom, Israel. We'll see you again on Friday. The water for watching.